Chapter 282. P.S. The ending of the previous chapter was slightly changed, but the title of the chapter could not be changed, so it was left unchanged. Wang Feng didn't intend to tell Qianren Xue about hunting the blood-winged dragon beetle. He couldn't possibly hunt the blood-winged dragon beetle with Qianren Xue or any other soul beasts and expose himself. After the meal, the two of them parted ways. When Qianren Xue heard Wang Feng's words, she knew that he was going to hunt soul beasts and was unwilling to tell her. She did not ask further. "Where's my blanket?" Wang Feng walked over and was about to keep the blanket. However, he realized that Qianren Xue had already put it away. "Why? I saved your life and you ate my meal. You even want my blanket?" Wang Feng snorted coldly. "I've already slept on this blanket." Qianren Xue's indifferent tone made Wang Feng feel that something was amiss. But at this point, Qianren Xue added another sentence. "Give it to me." Wang Feng laughed strangely and said, "Take it if you want it." Qianren Xue probably thought that she had already slept on it and that it had her sin on it, so she did not want to give it to anyone else. After speaking, Wang Feng walked out of the cave. Just as he was about to leave, Qianren Xue suddenly spoke. "Feng Yuxiu, I will remember your kindness for saving my life. You should forget about it." Wang Feng disappeared from Qianren Xue's sight. Qianren Xue was stunned. Suddenly, she smiled. Fortunately, Wang Feng was not here. If he was, he would be surprised by Qianren Xue's smile. She really did look like the #1 beauty. Qianren Xue touched the bedding and folded it neatly before storing it into her soul tool. She walked out of the cave and felt the sun shining brightly. The air was fresh and refreshing. She was in a good mood. Not long later, Qianren Xue found the 3-titled Dalu as she walked. "Your Highness, it's all our fault. Fortunately, you're fine. We spent the entire night looking for you. We thought you." When the Dream God Machine saw the Qianren Xue, it was shocked. Yesterday, they had only managed to hold off the blood-winged dragon beast for a short period of time, because if they continued to resist, their lives would be in danger. In addition, His Highness had also left, so they directly retreated. However, there was no trace of His Highness, which really gave them a fright. After searching for most of the night, they still couldn't find any traces of it. They were also afraid of disturbing the other exotic devil beasts in the Great Douluo forest, so they didn't go too deep into the forest to search. They planned to continue searching after daybreak. Unexpectedly, His Highness came back directly. "I'm fine." Qianren Xue waved his hand and glanced at him. "Let's go and find a suitable soul beast before returning to Heavendo City." He didn't find any traces of Wang Feng on this trip, but it didn't matter. After all, it was fine as long as he could obtain his 6th soul ring. Meanwhile, Wang Feng used the skull to sense the aura around him. Coupled with the Shadowmist's soul skill in the soul bone, he could almost silently approach many 10,000-year soul beasts. It was as if he was invisible. This skull was indeed powerful. The Shadowmist's soul skill could conceal one's entire body. This concealment wasn't one with heaven and earth, but completely disappeared. Even 20 to 30,000-year soul beasts wouldn't be able to sense him unless he was within 5 meters of them. But 5 meters was short. Wang Feng could directly cause a lot of damage to his opponent with a single step. It was negligible. Along the way, Wang Feng tested many soul beasts, and they were all the same. Furthermore, the 2nd soul skill of the soul bone, sense, could clearly sense the age of these soul beasts. Even if he didn't activate his Dark Angel, he could still sense soul beasts within a few thousand meters. If it was a dangerous soul beast, Wang Feng could immediately sense it and leave. With this skull, my safety will be greatly increased in the future. Wang Feng took a deep breath. This skull doesn't have a name yet. I'll just name it myself. How about I call it the Black Band Spiritual Skull? This name wasn't too fancy. Black Band referred to the skull's black color. The Golden Band referred to its resemblance to the Golden Band incantation. And the Spiritual Skull referred to the fact that this skull could provide Wang Feng with an endless stream of spiritual power, allowing him to remain clear-headed at all times. With his skull, Wang Feng was like a fish in water in the Great Douluo forest. He could sense the presence of the dragon beetle on one hand, and he could also sense the nearby, powerful, devilish beasts on the other. Not long after, Wang Feng sensed the dragon beetle. Its mountainous body seemed to be taking a nap in front of him. It was the size of 2 basketball courts, and it wasn't inferior to Erming in terms of size. Even though it was taking a nap, it still exuded an extremely terrifying aura. It was inhaling and exhaling bursts of blood mist, and the wings on its back would occasionally flap, leaving streaks of crimson afterimages in the air. In reality, it was very easy to find this blood-winged dragon beetle. This was because there wasn't a single soul beast within a kilometer of this extremely ferocious soul beast. It wasn't like the sky azure bull python or the titan giant ape, who were milder and didn't engage in one slaughter. Soul beasts were the same as humans. There were good and bad soul beasts. Furthermore, this blood-winged dragon beetle's temperament couldn't be tamed. Wang Feng took a deep breath. He was still several hundred meters away from this blood-winged dragon beetle. Even though he used shadow mist to conceal his aura, he didn't dare to get too close. Deification. Wang Feng's golden lotus spun as he secretly used deification on himself. Thorny lotus. Wang Feng's black lotus spun as he increased his defensive power by another level. Once he used these 2 soul skills, an aura that could be seen with the naked eye was immediately released from Wang Feng's body. Wang Feng didn't intend to use any other soul skills to harass this blood-winged dragon beetle. The reason was very simple. It was a waste of soul power. Even if he could injure this blood-winged dragon beetle, it wouldn't be fatal. Instead, it would be a waste of soul power. At this moment, Wang Feng naturally had to maximize the utilization of his soul power. All of it was used on the Pango axe. Even his dark angel martial soul was useless. Rank 40 soul power. At this moment, the Black Lotus didn't have any soul power reserves, so it should be able to activate the Pango axe. Wang Feng, whose entire body was shining with a golden light but was covered in a layer of white mist, stared coldly at the blood-winged dragon beetle in front of him. 3 pitch-black soul rings flickered on his body. Yes, his first soul ring had also been upgraded to a 1,000-year soul ring. The system's additional reward was an increase of 2,000 years, which happened to upgrade his first soul ring to a 10,000-year soul ring. Wang Feng upgraded his first soul ring to a 10,000-year soul ring last night, when Qianren Xue was resting. This was also the reason why he wanted to keep watch at night. Otherwise, it would be easy to attract attention. As for the upgrade effect, other than increasing his physical strength, the biggest was naturally the upgrade of his soul skills. His current deification soul skill increased all his attributes by 4 times. Other than the previous various effects such as immunity to poison, pain, and attack with additional paralysis effect, there was also an additional effect, immunity to all conditions. Simply put, he wasn't controlled by any soul skills now, nor was he intimidated by any aura. It could be considered the complete body of a deification soul skill. Wang Feng reckoned that if he upgraded it further, this soul skill might even be able to avoid death. At that time, when combined with the meteoric tear, he would probably be an unkillable cockroach. Fortunately, each of my forms is independent and my soul rings can be revealed separately. Otherwise, a full black soul ring before the age of 14. Wang Feng thought to himself, I'm afraid they'll be captured by the major forces of the continent for research. In theory, it wasn't impossible to have a full black soul ring, but it seemed that it would only be possible to have one in the later stages of the divine exam. All right, Wang Feng took a few deep breaths. With the deification soul skill, even if this was a 100,000-year soul beast, it wouldn't be able to suppress him with its aura. Then, Wang Feng turned his palm and held his breath. The Pango axe in his other hand quietly appeared. Pango axe. End of this chapter. Chapter 283. His soul force was like a myriad of streams returning to the sea, and it surged madly into this seemingly ordinary axe. In the next moment, an extremely bright pillar of light shot into the clouds from Wang Feng's body. The originally bright sky was suddenly covered by dark clouds after this pillar of light. Lightning flashed. The lightning that streaked across the sky seemed like it was going to split the sky open. A hurricane-like shockwave spread in all directions with Wang Feng at the center. Instantly, the surrounding trees were uprooted. His black robe and mask were completely shattered. His originally sparkling and translucent skin and jade-like bones were now filled with the terrifying power of Pangu's axe, as if they were filled with blood. Countless blood patterns spread all over Wang Feng's body. This was because the blood vessels in his skin couldn't withstand this strength. This was why they appeared on the surface of his skin. Even his face was covered with all sorts of small blood vessels. Fortunately, this time, his body didn't explode inch by inch like last time. His consciousness was even clearer. His black hoop spiritual skull appeared, causing Wang Feng's consciousness to be muddled by the strength of the Pangu axe. On the contrary, Wang Feng could feel the strength of the Pangu axe. Clear, strong, invincible. After being tempered by the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, his spiritual soul and skull were far stronger than when he used the Pangu axe. This meant that he could accurately unleash the strength of the Pangu axe. As he looked at the Pangu axe that was about to take form, Wang Feng's eyes flashed with a burning desire. At this moment, the blood-winged dragon beetle that was taking a nap was naturally awakened by this aura. Furthermore, Wang Feng's Shadowma soul skill could no longer conceal Wang Feng's aura. The aura of the Pangu axe was too frightening. It couldn't be concealed. Similarly, the blood-winged dragon beetle saw where Wang Feng was at the first moment. It roared furiously and attacked Wang Feng. At this moment, the Pangu axe martial soul had been formed. It had become a real axe. When the axe landed gently in Wang Feng's hand, boom, boom, boom. In the next moment, the pillar of light on Wang Feng's body expanded by several times. An aura that caused all living beings to feel fear covered the entire Great Star Doe forest from the pillar of light. Countless soul beasts whimpered as if they were on a pilgrimage as they looked at the pillar of light. Even the soul beasts that had lived for tens of thousands of years howled in the direction of the pillar of light. Their howls were filled with fear and dread. After a year, Wang Feng once again condensed the Pangu axe. The moment he held it in his hand, an aura that seemed to be able to split the heavens, the sun, and the moon, and shatter the mountains and rivers violently emitted from his body. The spontaneous airflow caused Wang Feng's hair to flutter wildly, adding to his cold and wild aura. Looking at the incoming blood-winged dragon beetle, Wang Feng remained expressionless. Then he stomped his foot, and the ground cracked inch by inch. His entire body was like a blood-colored thunderbolt. With a beam of light, he swung his axe towards the incoming blood-winged dragon beetle with the momentum of splitting Mount Hua. Bolts of lightning struck down from the sky along with the pillar of light, illuminating the horizon, as if they were also afraid of this terrifying power. The axe seemed to split open the heavens and earth. A terrifying wave of air blew in all directions from midair. From afar, it was as if a blood-colored ball of light was flashing like lightning, rising and then falling. Roar! The blood-winged dragon beetle let out a furious roar with some fear. At this moment, the aura on Wang Feng's body and the aura brought about by the axe made it feel incomparably terrified. However, this roar did not stop Wang Feng. Seeing this, the blood-winged dragon beetle directly spat out 2 pillars of blood from its mouth, directly hitting Wang Feng's body. His blood pillars were extremely lethal to soul masters. Once removed, they would instantly go crazy and lose their consciousness until they died of exhaustion, allowing the blood-winged dragon beetle to absorb their strength. Immediately after, the stone armor engraved with countless patterns on his back quickly closed, forming a flawless armor. The blood-winged dragon beetle's attack, defense, and speed were not bad. The blood wings on his back also began to emit an intense light. This light could affect the surrounding area, causing the enemy to feel as if they had fallen into a quagmire and their speed was greatly reduced. After doing all this, Wang Feng was not obstructed at all. The blood pillars that sprayed on his body did not gush out at all. The light formed by the blood wings was also unable to stop Wang Feng. Wang Feng's axe struck down with lightning speed, landing directly on the back of the blood-winged dragon beetle. Because the blood-winged dragon beetle's body was too large, even if Wang Feng's aura was astonishing, the axe landing on the back of the blood-winged dragon beetle looked like a basketball landing on a basketball court. However, at the moment when the axe landed, crack, 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 the ground where the blood-winged dragon beetle was on seemed to be pressed down by a few hundred tons of heavy objects, causing countless cracks to appear in all directions. Its huge body was also rapidly sinking. As for the stone armor on his back, it was almost instantly shattered. Although the blood-winged dragon beetle's defense was very strong, it was not as strong as the thorn Xuanwu turtle's defense from before. This was because the thorn Xuanwu turtle was famous for its defense. Right now, Wang Feng was rank 40, so his strength was naturally many times stronger than when he was rank 30. After this axe strike, Wang Feng's body only bled a little. It was not like the previous time, when he was directly shaken and almost all the bones in his body were broken. However, this axe strike only broke the defense on the back of the blood-winged dragon beetle. It seems like this axe strike is not enough. At this moment, Wang Feng's entire body was surrounded by waves of aura as he pulled out the pango axe. He felt that there was not much strength left in his body and was stunned. Then let's do it again. After all, this was a 60,000-year blood-winged dragon beetle. Even with his rank 40 strength, it was not possible for him to kill it with a single axe strike. Its life force was too strong. If it was a 30,000-year thorned Xuanwu turtle, this axe strike would have killed it. However, Wang Feng still had some strength left. His rank 40 soul power, his divinized soul skill, his physique after being tempered by the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, and his skull gave him an extremely calm state. This allowed Wang Feng to clearly feel that he still had the strength to do it again. Roar! At this moment, the blood-winged dragon beetle's back was shattered, and it let out an extremely indignant roar. It suddenly spoke in human language, and let out an extremely angry voice. Human, who are you? I've lived for so many years, and I've never seen such a ridiculous martial soul among humans. You're so weak that you can hurt me. Its voice was very awkward and sounded like a foreigner speaking Mandarin. Evidently, it was not the kind that spoke in human language often. Yes, it had lived for 60,000 years and had killed many soul masters and soul beasts in the great Stardow Forest. It had never seen such a ridiculous martial soul before. This human's rank was not very high, but he was able to inflict such terrifying damage on it. Unless he was a titled Dalu, even those powerful soul Dalu might not be able to inflict such ridiculous damage on it. Wang Feng could not be bothered to reply. He gathered all his strength and leapt high into the air once again. His axe struck down. This time, as he had overdrawn his strength, his bones let out a crisp sound. When he struck down, he was like a hunting bow that had been fully drawn. The axe landed on the blood-winged dragon beetle, which was not protected by its stone shell. End of chapter. Chapter 284. The flesh and blood under its shell was directly split into a spider web, and the exploding flesh and blood crazily split open. Wang Feng landed on the ground as well. 2 axes is still a little strenuous. If I were at rank 60, I would be able to kill this beetle with just 1 axe strike. Wang Feng threw up a mouthful of blood, and the pangu axe in his hand instantly disappeared. This blood-winged dragon beetle wasn't an ordinary 60,000-year-soul beast. It was extremely ferocious, and it was only slightly weaker than Erming. Even Douluo wouldn't be able to kill this beetle in 10 attacks, let alone 2. However, Douluo specialized in group attacks, not single-target attacks. Furthermore, the pangu axe was also a factor in the beetle's fear, and its power was reduced by 20%. Wang Feng lay on the ground and panted heavily. This was his second time using the pangu axe, and he had already gotten used to it. After using 2 axes, Wang Feng's injuries were a lot less severe than the last time. Furthermore, the meteoric tear was also surging with energy to quickly repair his injuries. However, his body was too powerful, so the meteoric tear's repair speed was slightly slower than before, just as Wang Feng was recovering. In the distance, Qian Rinxue and the others were in the process of killing a 20,000-year wild flame heavenly tiger. To put it more accurately, they were all stunned when that pillar of light lit up. What's that? Qian Rinxue stared at the pillar of light in the distance. It's a powerful being. Dream Shinji looked on with shock and horror. It's definitely a powerful being. No, this aura is far too terrifying. Even a titled Douluo doesn't have such an aura. The other two titled Douluo were also astonished as they watched. Even the sword Douluo had been stunned by this aura, and he had thought that a god had descended to the mortal world. At this moment, the three-souled Douluos were naturally even more astonished. Your Highness, look, that wild flame heavenly tiger is lying on the ground. Its eyes are filled with horror. Jilin pointed at the struggling wild flame heavenly tiger that had been bound by his sky azure vine, but instantly collapsed after the pillar of light's aura dissipated. Qian Rinxue was also horrified. She could clearly sense that this wild flame heavenly tiger was even more terrified than the one that had encountered Feng Yuxiu. What other terrifying existences exist in the great star Do Forest? By Baoshan muttered. Even I feel incomparably fearful. What exactly is that thing? As the light pillar in the center grew brighter and brighter, a blood-colored ball of light suddenly appeared in the air. One could vaguely see a human figure within it. However, it was too far away for the three of them to see clearly. However, the shockwaves that came in half a year could affect them here. Don't worry about it for now. Protect me while I kill this wild flame heaven-howling tiger and absorb its soul ring. Qian Rinxue said calmly. This is the best opportunity. The soul beasts nearby won't come and cause trouble. The three of them nodded repeatedly. This was indeed the best opportunity. At the center of the great star Do Forest. Can you feel it, Erming? The heaven azure bull python's enormous body suddenly appeared in the middle of the sparkling, pure lake. By the lakeside, the titan giant ape was combing its fur. It's that aura again. It seems to have become a lot more powerful during the past year. What do you think, Erming? I feel the same, Erming chimed in. The heaven azure bull python glared at him and said, Go and take a look. Xiao hasn't been back for over a year. I wonder if she's in danger. His friends don't seem to have come to the great Stardow Forest, either. All right, big brother, I'll go and take a look after I finish combing my fur. Xiao Wu isn't here, so I have to do it myself, Erming said. The heaven azure bull python was silent for a moment before asking, If you finish combing your fur now, won't you be messing it up again? Why don't we check out first, save the messy hair, and come back to comb it? You're so smart, big brother. Why didn't I think of that? Erming's eyes lit up, and he immediately messed up his fur. We'll do it together when I come back. Big brother, I'm going to take a look. Erming strode out as he spoke. Remember, don't get too close. The heaven azure bull python's voice rang out. Wang Feng rested for a while. His meteoric tear's regenerative abilities were quite powerful. As long as he was given enough time, he would be able to recover no matter how severe his injuries were. After a while, Wang Feng rose to his feet and made his way toward the blood-winged dragon beetle. His inky black soul rings were emanating dazzling light and a faint, intimidating aura. However, Wang Feng didn't absorb them. Red-faced karmic fire. Wang Feng spun around, and the red lotus of karmic fire released scorching red light. Go! After recovering some of his soul power, Wang Feng activated the karmic fire within the red lotus, which transformed into a series of fiery waterfalls that burned the blood-winged dragon beetle's body. This blood-winged dragon beetle was extremely ferocious, and even though it was dead, its soul would most likely be extremely ferocious. Wang Feng was a little worried that he would absorb it directly. In order to be safe, Wang Feng decided to use his karmic fire to burn it first. He hadn't thought of this before, and it only occurred to him later when his red lotus also began to refine his soul. Would it be easier for him to absorb the souls of these soul beasts if he used his karmic fire to burn them? Would it be easier for him to absorb the ferocious souls of these soul beasts after refining them a little? The karmic fire slowly burned on the blood-winged dragon beetle's body. Wang Feng seemed to be able to vaguely hear the howls of the sinister winds, as if the blood-winged dragon beetle was crying out in pain. This blood-winged dragon beetle was too large, and the karmic fire couldn't cover it quickly. However, this karmic fire could directly burn its soul. Wang Feng didn't hesitate anymore. He sat down cross-legged and guided his soul power to absorb the blood-winged dragon beetle's soul ring. The inky black soul ring entered Wang Feng's body from the blood-winged dragon beetle's body. A huge amount of soul power gathered from the soul ring and surged into Wang Feng's body. As soon as the soul power entered, Wang Feng was inwardly delighted. It seemed like he was right to be direct. After being burned by the karmic fire, the soul of the blood-winged dragon beetle was much weaker. The soul power in this soul ring didn't have much of a ferocious aura. At the very least, it wouldn't destroy his spiritual soul in an instant. It was also enough for his black lotus and dark angel to absorb a little. Wang Feng first controlled his black lotus to absorb the remnant soul consciousness of the blood-winged dragon beetle in this soul ring. After absorbing and charging, Wang Feng summoned his dark angel again and continued to absorb the remnant soul consciousness in this soul ring. Wang Feng could vaguely feel that the first pair of wings on the back of his dark angel had become much brighter. Next, Wang Feng began to officially absorb the energy of the soul ring. Boundless soul power rushed around in his body. Fortunately, the meteoric tear was also effective at this moment. In addition to this huge amount of soul power, as the soul of the blood-winged dragon beetle had been burned by the karmic fire of the blood-winged dragon beetle, and his spiritual power was enhanced by the skull, Wang Feng was actually able to control this huge amount of soul power. Furthermore, Wang Feng's current physique was comparable to that of a rank 70 soul warrior. Hence, it was much easier for him to absorb this soul power than before. It had to be said that the Red Lotus also had the benefits of tempering one's body in a chapter. Chapter 285. Under such conditions, Wang Feng's absorption was rather smooth. After this huge amount of energy circulated, his body became tougher and clearer. The green lotus in his sea of consciousness also slowly bloomed. Most of the energy in the soul ring quickly flowed into the rhizome. The rhizome turned into the god-slaying spear and slowly absorbed this terrifying energy. Gradually, the blunt-looking spear blade became cold and sharp. The ancient patterns on the body of the spear also gave off a faint glow. When most of the soul ring's energy was absorbed, the god-devouring spear started to change. The blade and body of the spear seemed to have been reforged and turned into a real god-slaying spear. The pitch-black soul ring revolved around the god-slaying spear and carried a ferocious aura. It was perfectly compatible with the god-slaying spear. The body of the spear was surrounded by purplish-black demonic aura. The entire spear exuded an extremely ferocious aura. Compared to the simple and unadorned look before, it was more like a sharp blade with a ferocious aura now. Those who were timid would probably faint with just one look. How much of an improvement would it be? The remaining small amount of soul power was absorbed by Wang Feng to increase his soul power. His rank soared. Wang Feng felt that it was about to reach rank 44 before it gradually stopped. F***CK. Why is it at this rank? Wang Feng opened his eyes and couldn't help but shake his head. This number is too unlucky. However, he had to admit that this 60,000-year soul ring's energy was indeed huge. Most of it was absorbed by the god-slaying spear and matured. A small portion was absorbed by him, and he rose by 4 ranks. It was quite normal. Who would absorb a 60,000-year soul ring at rank 40? Normal rank 70 soul masters could only absorb 50,000-year soul rings when they broke through. With Wang Feng's current speed of compressing and purifying his soul power, he could rise by 4 ranks after absorbing a small portion. One could imagine how crazy the 60,000-year soul ring was. Soul ring appear. Wang Feng suddenly opened his eyes. The sharp light in his eyes seemed to have solidified and flashed past. After obtaining a 60,000-year soul ring and increasing his rank, he had improved in all aspects. All his previous forms had been improved. The God-slaying spear's transformation was naturally the greatest. This was because when it first took form, the God-slaying spear was like a newborn and hadn't been forged. Now that it had matured, it had been forged. A cold light was revealed. 4 pitch-black soul rings slowly lit up from Wang Feng's body. Each ring was darker than the previous one. God-slaying spear. Wang Feng clenched his fist, and a black-purple demonic qi spread out. Then he instantly grasped the spear with a cold black light. So strong. Wang Feng couldn't help but exclaim the moment they held hands. The main reason was that the current God-slaying spear looked much better than before. Especially after activating his soul power, the spear body was simple and unadorned. The inscriptions on the spear shone with a black radiance, and the sharp edges of the spear blade glinted with a dazzling, cold light. Although I don't know how powerful the clear sky hammer is, it shouldn't be stronger than the God-slaying spear. Wang Feng felt that if he were to unleash his dark angel martial soul now, he would only need one move to exterminate that 20,000-year-old wild flame heaven-howling tiger. He would not give it any chance to escape. There's also a soul skill. Wang Feng closed his eyes and sensed for a moment. Suddenly, streaks of blood-red lines gushed out from the body of the spear. The originally pitch-black spear gained a bit of blood-red qi, making it look even more dazzling. This soul skill, Wang Fengxin was shocked. The blood-winged dragon beetle was a ferocious soul beast that combined attack, defense, and speed. The scariest thing about it was its blood that could drive soul masters crazy and then absorb their energy for its own use. It was considered a very evil and powerful soul beast. It's a soul skill that combines attack and defense. Wang Feng took a deep breath. He suddenly looked at his back and realized that he had 2 more wings. Wings that were filled with blood-red energy. The aura on his body was greatly enhanced. Wang Feng casually waved his hand, and the God-slaying spear shot out a terrifying blood-red light. A violent explosion came directly from afar. Countless blood-red lights blended into the ground and absorbed the energy of the microorganisms on the ground. I can still fly. Wang Feng used his soul power to control the wings, and he slowly rose into the air. All my attributes are doubled, and my attack power is doubled. I have flying blood-red wings, and the God-slaying spear's attack has the effect of Blood Devour. It also has a long-range attack. Wang Fengxin was secretly surprised. This was a soul skill that strengthened all aspects. It wasn't just a soul skill. It was similar to the effect of martial soul true body possession. But a 6-year, 10,000-soul beast was indeed extraordinary, and its flying speed was not slow. It was much faster than Wang Feng running by himself, and the effect of Blood Devour was similar to the blood of the blood-winged dragon beetle. It could make the enemy go crazy and devour the enemy's soul power to strengthen itself. My 4th soul skill shall be called Soul-Devouring Blood Wings. Wang Feng thought for a while. Having the ability to fly was Wang Feng's greatest gain. It meant that he could fight in the air. It's a pity that I can only use the different forms of the chaotic green lotus one by one. Wang Feng sighed softly. Otherwise, with the God-slaying spear in one hand and the black lotus of destruction in the other, he might really look like the demon ancestor Rahu. Wait, there seems to be one. Wang Feng looked at the corpse of the blood-winged dragon beetle. The soul ring disappeared, and as the red lotus karmic fire burned, the huge corpse quickly turned into ashes. However, there was a sparkling soul bone lying in the middle of the corpse. Wang Feng was stunned. He didn't expect this blood-winged dragon beetle to have a soul bone. It shouldn't be. With this blood-winged dragon beetle's power, it shouldn't have a soul bone. Could it be? Wang Fengxin was moved. He walked over and looked at this shining soul bone. It looks like a skull. Wang Feng looked at it. This soul bone had a spine and a sternum. It looked like a torso bone, and it exuded streaks of blood-red crystalline color. This is an unexpected gain. Wang Feng thought. He wasn't in a hurry to absorb this blood-winged dragon beetle's torso bone. Instead, he kept it in his soul tool. A 60,000-year soul bone was extraordinary, but his abilities had increased tremendously. He still needed some time to adapt before he took a look. This torso bone didn't overlap with his Xianming armor. That was because the Xianming armor was an external soul bone. I'll think about it when the time comes. This blood-winged dragon beetle's torso bone should be very strong, but I still need to adapt to my current abilities first. Wang Feng shook his head. His abilities had increased tremendously during this trip. After absorbing a 60,000-year soul ring, his physique had increased greatly. At least, Wang Feng was now confident that he could escape from a titled Douluo. If he took out his Pangu axe, he could even put up a fight against a weaker titled Douluo. If the soul-killing spear was classified as one of the 5 grades, Hui Yuhao's chances of winning against a soul Douluo were very high. If his opponent was a very strong soul Douluo, he might not be able to defeat him, but he might still lose. If he used his Pangu axe, no one below the titled Douluo level would survive. But there's a huge difference between every rank in the titled Douluo level. Wang Feng shook his head. There is a huge difference between every rank in the titled Douluo level. If his opponent was a rank 99 ultimate Douluo, Wang Feng estimated that he would need to be at least rank 70 to be confident of winning. But this was only an estimate. He would only know when he reached that rank. Furthermore, this estimate was only based on Wang Feng's current strength. The chaotic green lotus still had many other forms. Most importantly, Wang Feng hadn't added soul rings to his other 2 martial souls. In a chapter. Chapter 286. First, he was afraid that he would not be able to withstand it. Because of his triplet martial soul, every additional soul ring would increase the power his body could withstand. This was also why Tang Hao and Grandmaster did not ask Tang San to add soul rings to the Clear Sky Hammer in the early stages. The Pangu axe was so powerful that Wang Feng did not know what soul ring to add to it. Furthermore, the Pangu axe itself did not need to evolve. It was different from the chaotic green lotus. The chaotic green lotus was not mature, so it could transform into different forms according to the level of its soul power. Therefore, it needed soul rings. As long as the Pangu axe was infused with soul power and could withstand its power, it could be used. Its power was completely related to the strength of one's body and soul power. The Pangu axe did not need any fancy soul skills. Wang Feng felt that one swing of the axe was enough. Returning to the most basic power, it was just like how Wang Feng saw Pangu use the axe to split the heavens and earth. It was simple and straightforward. Adding soul rings to the Pangu axe would only improve it a little. As for the Dark Angel, when his soul power was higher, he could try adding soul rings to it. This was also Wang Feng's plan. After thinking about everything, Wang Feng took out a black robe and a mask from his soul tool and put it on. As he knew that using the Pangu axe would cause his clothes to explode, Wang Feng was naturally well prepared. It's about time to leave. Wait, this aura, it seems to be the Titan giant ape? Erming? Wang Feng suddenly looked in a certain direction in surprise. After thinking for a while, Wang Feng quickly ran in that direction. Dong dong dong. At the same time, Qian Rinshue's location. At this moment, Qian Rinshue was sitting cross-legged, absorbing the soul ring of the wild flame, sky-howling tiger. As for Meng Xinji and the other 2, they were standing in a triangular formation in front of Qian Rinshue. Unfortunately, Qian Rinshue did not open his eyes and did not see their terrified expressions. The 3 soul Douluo were extremely nervous. Their faces were full of cold sweat, because in front of them, a Titan giant ape the size of a small mountain was staring at them. He walked around from the central lake and came out to take a look according to his elder brother's instructions. However, not long after he came out, the light pillar disappeared. Since it disappeared, he continued to walk around. As he turned, he first encountered these few humans in front of him. At this moment, Erming was staring at the 3 soul Douluos in a slightly dazed manner. What should I do? Do you want me to kill them? That way, I will have an explanation when I go back. I think it's better if I don't kill it. Big Brother taught me not to kill as I please. Moreover, that wild flame howling sky tiger is not content with its lot. It often kills in the forest. With that thought in mind, the Titan giant ape raised its foot, intending to leave. However, at this moment, protect His Highness. Get it under control. Meng Xinji's eyes widened. He thought that the Titan giant ape was going to kick him, so he yelled out loudly. Hearing that, Jilin's sky ivy was like a creeper, instantly covering the Titan giant ape's body and controlling the Titan giant eye's body. Bai Baoshan's heavenly star furnace directly released a huge light barrier, enveloping the four of them. The Titan giant ape. I wanted to let you go, but you actually dared to hit me? He was furious. Then, the three of them started fighting. A 60,000-year Titan giant ape was one of the overlords of the great star Do forest. Its strength was naturally terrifying. Fortunately, Meng Xinji and the other two were Soul Douluo, and they were a combination of control and defense. Although their offensive strength was not strong, their restraining ability was terrifying. This was especially so for Bai Baoshan's heavenly star furnace. It could be said that it blocked most of the Titan giant ape's attacks. Coupled with Meng Xinji's black demon and Jilin's sky ivy, they were able to fight to a draw. No one could do anything to the other. However, the more they fought, the more excited the Titan giant ape became. There was a light barrier above the three of them. It was Bai Baoshan's heavenly star furnace. Every strike of the Titan giant ape landed on the light shield, causing ripples to appear on it. We can't beat it. Meng Xinji's face turned pale. This beast's offensive strength is too strong. It has far surpassed that of an ordinary 60,000-year soul beast. I'm afraid that in another 5 minutes, Baoshan's heavenly star furnace true body will be destroyed. Most of our restraining abilities are ineffective against it. An ordinary 100-year Titan giant ape could fight against a 10,000-year soul Douluo, let alone a 60,000-year Titan giant ape. Even a titled Douluo might not be able to beat it. Although the three of them were soul Douluo, they were still far from being a true titled Douluo. Why do we encounter this beast, the Titan giant ape? But His Highness is at the crucial point of absorbing the soul ring. We can't leave so easily. Otherwise, we will be attacked by the soul ring. Jilin's expression was also very bad. It was one thing to encounter a blood-winged dragon beetle, but now they even encountered a Titan giant ape. Was their luck so bad? Crack, crack, crack. At this moment, the light barrier formed by the heavenly star furnace started to crack. The two of you, lend me some soul power, Bai Baoshan shouted. We have a hold on until His Highness wakes up. Only then can we retreat. Meng Xinji and Jilin nodded. They walked behind Bai Baoshan and poured their soul power into him. Dong, dong, dong. Loud sound could be heard. Every time the Titan giant ape's foot landed, the three of them turned paler. The Titan giant ape was like a child, looking at ants on the ground and stepping on them excitedly. At this moment, Qian Rinchue's eyes flickered. If this goes on, even if His Highness wakes up, we won't be able to leave. The three of them became more and more anxious, and their expressions became worse and worse. However, Qian Rinchue still did not wake up. Dong! The light barrier suddenly cracked. The three of them spat out a mouthful of blood. At this moment, a cold light filled with malevolence suddenly shot over from afar. The Titan giant ape seemed to have sensed this cold light as well. It was slightly fearful and subconsciously took a step back. Clang! A long spear was placed in front of the three of them, blocking the Titan giant ape's footsteps. The body of the spear was emitting a black flame that curled up and rose. The three of them were shocked. They glanced at the spear. Due to their injuries, they felt a little dizzy. Immediately after, they heard a hoarse voice. "Little ape, let me fight with you. Follow me." Hearing this, the three of them turned and looked into the distance. They saw a mysterious person wearing a black robe and a white mask. At this moment, there was a pair of blood-red wings on his back. He was quietly floating in midair. The Titan giant ape was obviously attracted as well. Its gaze landed on the mysterious black-robed man. Then it walked over. At this moment, the black-robed man turned his hand, and the terrifying spear that was covered in blood-red patterns and emitted a ferocious aura instantly returned to the mysterious black-robed man's hand. Seeing this, the three of them heaved a sigh of relief. "Senior, thank you for saving us. May I know Senior's name?" Dream Shinji shouted loudly. This mysterious black-robed man only had a pitch-black soul ring. They could not tell its rank, but they must have used some special method to hide it. However, it was definitely very strong. Just the murderous aura emitted by the spear made the three of them feel a sense of fear. However, the black-robed man did not answer. He flapped his blood-red wings and instantly disappeared from the spot. The Titan giant ape behind him also patted its chest, roared a few times, and followed after the figure. There will be more at night. End of chapter. Chapter 287. The three of them watched as the Titan giant ape left with the mysterious black-robed man. For a moment, they were stunned. Then, the three of them collapsed to the ground and broke out in cold sweat. "So close, so close," Dream Shinji muttered. "If not for that mysterious senior, I'm afraid we would have all died here." The Titan giant ape's strength was far beyond their imagination. The overlord of the great star Douluo forest. They were famous figures in the world of soul masters. How could they not have heard of it? It was only when they saw it with their own eyes that they felt so terrified. "I feel that the Titan giant ape doesn't want to kill us. Otherwise," Bai Baoshan coughed out a few mouthfuls of blood and said softly. His heavenly star furnace had been used as a defense just now, so he could feel the power of the Titan giant ape the most. It was more of a playful thing. "No matter what, we're saved." Ji Lin laughed bitterly. "I wonder who that mysterious senior is?" He didn't even leave a name. But that spear. The aura that the spear emitted was too terrifying. One look at it and they felt their souls tremble. Although the three of them were severely injured and mentally unstable, they still felt terrified. I've never seen a spear-type martial soul that emitted such a ferocious aura. Dream Shinji recalled the powerful soul masters in the world of soul masters. None of them matched. Also, I can't tell its level. But to be able to attract the Titan giant ape's attention, it must be very strong. The three of them discussed for a while. At this moment, Qianren Shue woke up. "What's the situation with the three of you?" Qianren Shue looked at the three of them and asked with a frown. The three of them were lying on the ground. They were no longer soul Douluo. It was as if they had just fought a huge battle. Could it be that the blood-winged dragon beetle was here again? Dream Shinji and the other two looked at each other. They shook their heads and laughed bitterly. They told Qianren Shue what had just happened. After listening, Qianren Shue fell silent. "Titan giant ape?" Qianren Shue's tone was still calm. "How did we encounter such a soul beast?" "Wait, are you saying that you were saved by a senior wearing a black robe and a white mask?" Meng Shinji nodded and said, "This senior is very strong, and his martial spirit is a ferocious blood-red spear. He is wearing a black robe and a white mask. He is very strong. That spear shot from afar and landed in front of us, which attracted the attention of the Titan giant ape." The Dream Shinji heaved a sigh. If we had come any later, even if this Titan giant ape didn't kill us, the three of us and His Highness would have met a tragic end. After hearing this, Qianren Shue was stunned. "Black robe, white mask, spear. Is that you?" Qianren Shue looked at the direction the Dream God Machine was pointing at. There was a special passage that was formed by the Titan apes. "Feng Yuxiu, you saved me again?" Qianren Shue murmured. She wanted to follow them and find out what had happened. Would the Titan giant ape have killed him? It shouldn't. He has a soul skill that can block the aura of a 60,000-year soul beast. He should be able to escape, right? But why would he appear here? Could it be that he has been following me all this time? Qianren Shue shook her head. How is that possible? I don't even know him. He saved me once, so there's no reason for him to save me again. Furthermore, I'm a man now. It must be a coincidence. Thinking of this, Qianren Shue had mixed feelings. "Your Highness, Don't tell me you want to go and take a look? The dream Shinji was shocked when it saw Qian Rinchue's gaze. It hurriedly tried to dissuade her. Your Highness, we will repay this senior's kindness in the future. However, it's better for us to leave now. Furthermore, it's useless for the few of us to go. Even a titled might not be able to defeat that Titan giant ape. Qian Rinchu nodded. She wasn't that stupid. How would she really go? With their abilities, they wouldn't even be able to escape. They would only cause trouble. Sealed in cultivation, sealed in cultivation. Qian Rinchu muttered a few words in her heart. She had a strange feeling in her heart. Her senses from 7 years ago led to her meeting today. She was even saved twice in a row. I hope you can walk out of the great Stardow forest. I believe that we will meet again. Qian Rinchu looked into the depths of the forest. She was a little worried, but also a little expectant. Little chimpanzee, you can't catch up, so you're trying to hit me. In midair, Wang Feng held the soul-slaying spear in his hand. His blood-red wings flapped behind his back, and streaks of blood-red light streaked across the sky. The Titan giant ape was running on all fours. Its speed wasn't inferior, but it couldn't catch up to Wang Feng. That human seems a little familiar. The Titan giant ape was a little angry that he was scurrying around like a fly. It roared furiously. The air around them seemed to have been increased by 10 times. It became extremely heavy. Wang Feng also staggered. He felt that his body had suddenly become a few times heavier. His flying speed instantly slowed down. Domain? What's that? Wang Feng groaned and immediately hid his mysterious underworld armor. His speed finally returned to normal. Seeing this, the Titan giant ape opened its eyes wide and roared furiously again. An even more frightening strength crushed the void. Crackling sounds of explosions rang out in the air. Fuck, is this really a domain? Wang Feng suddenly thought of something. He felt his body become a little heavier. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on him. His speed became a lot slower, but he didn't fall from the sky. It was just that Wang Feng felt as if his bones and muscles were being squeezed in this domain. Divine transformation, Wang Feng roared. The soul-slaying spear disappeared. He quickly descended, and his golden lotus bloomed. His divine transformation soul skill appeared again. The 4 times increase in his attributes made his body feel much more relaxed. The Titan giant ape stared at Wang Feng. Eat my spear. Before he landed on the ground, Wang Feng summoned the soul-slaying spear again. He immediately used his 4th soul skill, soul-devouring blood wings. His attributes were boosted again. Wang Feng's eyes flashed red. He immediately attacked the Titan giant ape. Seeing Wang Feng attack, the Titan giant ape wasn't shocked. Instead, it was delighted. This little fly seems to be quite powerful. Indeed, Wang Feng was in the Titan giant ape's gravity domain. His attributes were boosted, and the heaviness was greatly reduced. He barely managed to return to normal. Roar! The Titan giant ape punched Wang Feng. Its huge fist was like a mountain. Compared to it, Wang Feng was more like a pebble. The two of them collided. Wang Feng was sent flying by a single punch. The Titan giant ape didn't even move. The difference in strength between them was too great. In addition to the gravity domain, Wang Feng's strength was greatly reduced. It was like punching in water. His strength was greatly reduced. Bang, bang, bang. Wang Feng broke dozens of trees in a row before he slowly came to a stop. Damn, this is too strong. Wang Feng looked at the path he had created after being blasted open. Countless trees were broken on both sides. I'm too arrogant. I actually thought I could exchange blows with this 100,000-year-old Air Ming. Wang Feng coughed a few times. He wasn't injured. His body was just a little shaken. Suddenly, a strange smile appeared on Wang Feng's face. However, this spear of mine will always be able to injure you. This is the soul-slaying spear we're talking about. Even if you're indestructible, a small wound will slowly accumulate. I can make you wish for death. Roar, roar. Seeing that the fly that Wang Feng had been unable to catch up to had been sent flying with a single punch, the Titan giant ape was as happy as a 300-pound child. It frantically slapped its chest, which was as hard as a black rock. He slapped his chest loudly. End of chapter. Chapter 288. Wang Feng stretched his body and flew into the air again to face the Titan giant ape. Wang Feng could also clearly see that there was another small wound on the Titan giant ape's hand. It wasn't big. To the Titan giant ape, such a wound was like a mosquito bite to an ordinary person. It didn't take it seriously at all. "Little ape, come again," Wang Feng yelled. He knew that this Titan giant ape didn't have much killing intent. "Come at me then. Do you think I'm afraid of you?" The Titan giant ape spoke in human language and charged towards Wang Feng. Wang Feng was stunned when he heard this. This was because this sentence was much smoother than the blood-winged dragon beetle from before. Following this, the two of them started fighting. Boom, boom, boom. The entire forest seemed to have been lifted up by these two figures, one big and one small. Countless trees were smashed into pieces by Wang Feng's body. The Titan giant ape felt that it was very satisfying to fight. It hadn't felt so good in a long time. "This little fly is quite strong. He can take a beating. I sent him flying with punch after punch. It's very satisfying. Fortunately, this little fly can take a beating. If it were a human soul master, he would have died after a few punches. Big brother will definitely scold me then." As the overlord of the great Stardow forest, the Titan giant ape rarely had such a good fight. However, why do I feel a little tired? The Titan giant ape was stunned. I originally felt that I was full of energy. Why did it deplete so quickly? It sent the little fly flying with another punch. The Titan giant ape suddenly looked at its palms and realized that they were covered in wounds. With its body's self-healing ability, such small wounds should have formed scabs in an instant. But they seem to be getting bigger and bigger. This little fly seems to be poisonous. Wang Feng flew up again. On the contrary, he was full of energy. The more he fought, the more energetic he became. Although the soul-killing spear couldn't cause large-scale damage to the Titan giant ape, every wound couldn't be healed. Even the Titan giant ape couldn't heal. Furthermore, with his fourth soul skill, his attacks with the soul-killing spear had the effect of blood devouring. The more wounds his opponent had, the more energy he could absorb. The more he fought, the more his soul power wasn't depleted. On the contrary, the Titan giant ape already felt that something was amiss. However, Erming's vitality is far too strong. If we continue fighting like this, we might not be able to kill him even if we fight him for an entire day. Wang Feng shook his head inwardly. Apart from the fact that he hadn't unleashed his dark angel martial soul, there was nothing else he could do. It was already considered the fifth gear. He had even used the Golden Lotus to raise his soul power to rank 48. Aside from the Karmic Fire, this was his most powerful attack, aside from the Pango Axe and the Dark Angel. However, the damage they could inflict on the Titan giant ape was limited. Even a rank 80 assault type soul master might not be able to hurt this Titan giant ape. Back then, Zhao Wuji, who was at level 76, had been flung away by the Titan giant ape in just a few moves. The Titan giant ape was completely fine. This was even after Zhao Wuji activated his martial soul true body. "I'm so angry." The Titan giant ape looked at the wounds on its hands and roared furiously. It felt a bit dizzy, and it knew that the wounds were the cause. This wound contained a terrifying fiendish blood aura, causing him to be completely unable to heal the wound. If this continued, he would be exhausted to death sooner or later. Little Fly's prowess seems to have exceeded my imagination, the Titan ape thought. Although it was simple and honest, it wasn't stupid. Wang Feng. The Titan giant ape's body suddenly shone brightly, and its aura increased greatly. It didn't want to play anymore. If it continued playing, it would probably fall into this little fly's trap. Furthermore, the pain from the wounds on its palms made it a little unhappy. Wang Feng's eyes widened. Was it going to go all out? Damn, it's for real? If it's for real, then it's no fun. Wait. Wang Feng hurriedly shouted, "I'm Xiao Wu's friend." The Titan giant ape was suddenly stunned. Wang Feng hurriedly took off his mask and hood. In the next moment, the Titan giant ape roared furiously, and its body shone brightly as it pounced toward Wang Feng. "Little brother, what's wrong with you? I've already revealed my identity, and you're still coming?" We're on the same side. Wang Fengxian was shocked. He quickly activated his Black Lotus, and a mysterious underworld armor covered his body. The Black Lotus instantly formed a pitch-black light barrier. Boom! The Titan giant ape's huge body pressed down on the light barrier. But this time, the light barrier didn't break. A year ago, when the Black Lotus first appeared, it could only resist the Titan giant ape for less than 3 seconds. But now, the Black Lotus had a 10,000-year soul ring. It had matured, and he had obtained an external soul bone to strengthen his body. During this period, he had also been strengthened by the meteoric tear several times and consumed 6 divine herbs. Apart from his brain and sternum, his entire body had been tempered by the karmic fire of the Red Lotus and was extremely strong. Now he had reached rank 44 and even obtained his 4th soul ring, a 60,000-year soul ring. 3 seconds? He probably couldn't break it even after 30 seconds. Wang Feng didn't use his Black Lotus to defend himself earlier because he wanted to let the Titan giant ape fight him head-on. He wanted to use the soul-killing spear to damage it and lower its guard. Now, he naturally had to use his Black Lotus to defend himself. Wang Feng stood in the center of the huge light barrier. He was forced back by the Titan giant ape's terrifying strength. Why was Wang Feng so confident that he could escape from a titled Douluo? It was because of the Black Lotus's powerful defensive ability. After more than 20 seconds, the light barrier of the Black Lotus started to show signs of cracking. A long trench was formed on the ground around Wang Feng's light barrier. "Turn!" Wang Feng shouted. The energy stored in the Black Lotus surged out crazily and repaired the cracks on the black light barrier. After holding on for almost a minute, the light barrier finally broke when the energy in the Black Lotus was used up. The light barrier was broken, and the Titan giant ape punched at Wang Feng. Boom! The punch landed squarely on Wang Feng's chest. Wang Feng's expression changed, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. However, the Titan giant ape also trembled violently as it was repelled by a powerful force. It retreated several steps, its lantern-sized eyes staring at the little fly in shock. At this moment, a huge figure suddenly appeared in mid-air in the distance. Ming, stop! A majestic voice sounded. This voice reminded Wang Feng of the voices in the hall he saw on TV. A voice could be heard, and it was unusually loud. The Titan giant ape scratched its own head, but it didn't attack. Instead, it gave a cold harumph before rubbing its palms together. This wound wouldn't heal, and it was only becoming more and more painful. It was also affecting its mind. It was very annoying. Sky Azure Bull Python? Wang Feng wiped the blood from the corners of his lips, and his heart jolted slightly at the sight of the gargantuan figure. How did it get here without him noticing? However, even though Wang Feng had been injured by the Titan giant ape's punch, it wasn't very serious. A few of his ribs had been broken, but that wasn't a big deal. With his body, he would recover very quickly. It was just that the soul power expenditure was a little excessive. Are you Xiao Wu's friend, human? The Sky Azure Bull Python looked down at the tiny human down below with a grim look in its eyes. Wang Feng nodded and said, "My name is Wang Feng. Xiao should have told you about me." However, he was still thinking to himself that this Ming was far too powerful. Now that the Black Lotus had been destroyed, he could only flee. The Sky Azure Bull Python glanced at Wang Feng, then turned to the Titan giant ape. "You just told Ming who you were in an attempt to get him to let you go, which means that you know who he is. In that case, why did you fight him and infuriate him?" End of chapter. Chapter 289. Wang Feng coughed a few times and said without hiding anything, "I just want to exchange a few moves with Xiao Wu's friend." Aside from that, he had returned the favor by saving Dream Shinji and the other two from the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. After all, the 3 of them had released their pressure and allowed him to advance 3 ranks. Later, when they encountered Prince Xuexing, he had come to their rescue. Exchange a few moves? Humph. The Sky Azure Bull Python snorted coldly, and a burst of pressure pressed down on Wang Feng. However, Wang Feng had already used his divinized soul skill, and with the addition of the spiritual power from the Black Banded Mind Skull, he was immune to the pressure. Otherwise, he would have vomited blood. You're an interesting human. The Sky Azure Bull Python stared at the human in bewilderment. Since when were human youths so strong? The pressure of a 100,000-year-old beast had no effect on this kid. The Sky Azure Bull Python turned to the Titan Giant Ape. I know this kid, the Titan Giant Ape said in a muffled voice. He was the one who put me down more than a year ago. I don't know what move he used just now, but my wounds couldn't heal. Big brother, look, I was so angry that I wanted to beat him up. I didn't want to kill him, but I was put down again just now. It's so painful, big brother. The Titan Giant Ape's last punch had broken several of Wang Feng's ribs, but he had also been injured by the rebound. It was probably even more painful than when he was trapped by the Black Lotus Light barrier. The mysterious dark armor reflected 150% of the damage and weakened it by 20%. The Sky Azure Bull Python stared at the wounds on the Titan Giant Ape's palms with a grim expression in its eyes. What a terrifying blood aura. The Sky Azure Bull Python spat out a ball of light that landed on the Titan Giant Ape's palms. However, the ball of light didn't heal the Titan Giant Ape's wounds. It can only be said that it was suppressing them. Ming, your wounds can only be suppressed. They can't be healed. The Sky Azure Bull Python's pupils contracted. What was the cause of this wound? Why couldn't he heal them? After that, the Sky Azure Bull Python looked at Wang Feng with a cold look in its eyes. Leave. Since you're Xiao Wu's friend, I'll pretend nothing happened today. The Sky Azure Bull Python said in a deep voice. Wang Feng coughed a few times and said, Well, I was the one who caused your brother's injuries. Naturally, I can heal them. Don't worry. He just wanted to see the effects of the soul-slaying spear. From the looks of it, the soul-culling spear was indeed powerful. No matter how small the damage it dealt it was impossible to heal it. Furthermore, as time passes, the wound will definitely worsen. Suppressing the wound will also consume a lot of soul power, and it will definitely affect one's strength for a long time. You can recover? The Sky Azure Bull Python stared at Wang Feng with a bewildered expression. The Titan Giant Ape also turned around and looked at Wang Feng. Its huge body gave off a strong sense of oppression. Of course, Wang Feng walked to the Titan Giant Ape's side. The golden lotus in his hand spun slightly, exuding a vigorous vitality. This is... The Sky Azure Bull Python looked at the golden lotus in Wang Feng's hand and felt a special power that shocked him. However, the Sky Azure Bull Python was still looking at Wang Feng with vigilance. Recover, and I won't be angry anymore, Ming said. Wang Feng activated the golden lotus, and golden light fell onto Ming's palms. All of a sudden, Ming roared, Arf. The Sky Azure Bull Python was startled, and it said angrily, What's wrong, Ming? Is he? No, big brother, I feel so good. The Sky Azure Bull Python. Wang Feng focused his gaze on the golden light, and the wounds on Ming's hands were healing at a rate discernible to the naked eye. In just a short while, they had already recovered to their original state. It's just as I thought. The Golden Lotus's healing abilities are far beyond my imagination. It's not just ordinary healing abilities. Even these special wounds, including those caused by the soul-slaying spear, can be healed. Wang Fengxin heaved a faint sigh of relief upon seeing this. After all, they were both formed from the chaotic Azure Lotus. In other words, they were all born from the same mother, so they could naturally complement each other. As their soul power increased, their abilities would naturally become more powerful as well. After recovering, the Titan Giant Ape regained its vigor and vigor. Come, let's fight another 300 rounds. The Titan Ape said to Wang Feng, Since you can recover, I don't have to worry about you hurting me. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. Wang Feng. This Ming was a warmonger. The Sky Azure Bull Python spoke to Wang Feng. Thank you. Wang Feng smiled and waved his hand. There's no need. I was the one who caused this wound. Besides, Xiao Wu and I are friends. At this point, Wang Fengxin's heart moved slightly. Seeing as I've met Deming and Air Ming ahead of time, why don't I cultivate in the Great Stardow Forest for a few months? This was a perfect opportunity to spar with Air Ming. Even though he couldn't beat them in a fight, he could at least have a target to practice on, which could stimulate his potential. In addition, the other party was Xiao Wu's friend and wouldn't kill him. He could be considered the perfect target. This was equivalent to a sparring partner for a titled Douluo, and it didn't cost any money. Thinking up to this point, Wang Feng smiled and said to the Titan Ape, "Don't worry. Sure, I'll probably stay in the Great Stardow Forest for a few months. If you want to spar with me, then go ahead. But don't be serious." The Titan Ape was ecstatic to hear this, and it nodded enthusiastically. If this little fly could withstand his attacks, then he would have a lot of fun beating it up. It would be great if he could stay and play with it. Wang Feng could tell that Air Ming was actually just like Xiao Wu. He seemed to have lived for a very long time, but he was most likely only 16 or 17 years old. In contrast, this Sky Azure Bull Python was a lot more mature. The Sky Azure Bull Python didn't say anything in response. Thus, Wang Feng spent the next few months cultivating in the Great Stardow Forest, fighting the Titan Giant Ape while cultivating and increasing his soul force. 5 months later, at the center of the Great Stardow Forest, within a lake. "Come out and fight, you little lunatic. I'm going to beat the crap out of you today." The Titan Giant Ape roared by the lake. Half a year hadn't changed him at all. Right at this moment, the Sky Azure Bull Python emerged from the lake and said in a low voice, "Air Ming left today." The Titan Ape was immediately rooted to the spot upon hearing this. This was because he would come to fight that little lunatic every day around this time. It could be said that most of the Great Stardow Forest was in chaos. The past half a year had been the most enjoyable half a year he had ever fought. Furthermore, the more he fought, the more Air Ming felt as if his powers had improved slightly. Why'd he leave? Air Ming sat down on the ground in a slightly dejected manner. "I didn't hurt him during the past half a year." "You weren't able to hurt him either," the Sky Azure Bull Python replied. The Titan Ape smashed 2 craters into the ground with its fists. "I didn't dare to use my full power, but I didn't seem to be able to hurt him either. Big brother, do you think he's really a human? Why do I feel like he's even more resilient than us soul beasts? He's even more resilient than those 60,000-year-old soul beasts." Chapter 290. The Sky Azure Bull Python was silent for a moment. During the past half a year, that young human boy had given him far too many surprises. His martial soul skills, battle experience, and rate of growth had all far exceeded his imagination. In the beginning, the young man had asked Air Ming to unleash his gravity domain at full power, and during the previous month, he had been beaten to a pulp by Air Ming. When Air Ming unleashed his gravity domain at full power, even 80,000 to 90,000 year soul beasts would be forced to lay on the ground and accept his beatings. Air Ming very rarely used his gravity domain against human soul masters, and he had only unleashed a small portion of it during his first battle against the young man. However, during the second month, the young man began to make rapid progress, and he was able to move around freely even in Air Ming's gravity domain at full power. During the third month, Air Ming's gravity domain was completely unstoppable. Later on, the young man had even requested that he use his slowing domain, but the Sky Azure Bull Python had refused. During the past half a year, the young man was still unable to defeat Air Ming, but he was able to last longer and longer, and toward the end, Air Ming had to unleash 70% to 80% of his full power to defeat him. In the beginning, the Sky Azure Bull Python had reprimanded Air Ming for allowing the young man to injure him. However, the young man had said that he had requested it, but he seems to only be a rank 45 human soul master. The Sky Azure Bull Python was rather perplexed. Could it be that the young man had already become this powerful? If so, how were soul beasts supposed to survive in the future? Even a rank 45 human soul master would require Air Ming to unleash 80% of his full power to defeat him. By the way, he also gave you a present. At this moment, The sky azure bull python pulled out a huge and thick club that was more than 10 meters long from the lake. What's that? The Titan giant ape's eyes lit up at the sight of the massive club. The club seemed to have been polished and engraved with all types of patterns, and it was quite ancient, and just looking at it made him want to play with it. Ahem, he found this in this lake, then polished it into a giant piece of gold star rock after discussing it with me. He said that he wanted to give you a surprise. The sky azure bull python said. He said that you're going to like this club very much. The sky azure bull python then tossed the club toward the Titan giant ape. The Titan giant ape leaped up and caught the staff with both hands. The moment it caught the staff, it was abnormally excited. It was as if he was born to understand, and he began to play with the stick in his hand. It spun with a whirring sound. The shadow of the staff was like a rainbow. His aura skyrocketed. Fun, fun. I love this gift so much. The Titan giant ape was extremely happy. As it played with the stick, it jumped around, causing the ground to tremble. The sky azure bull python was also looking on in astonishment. He could clearly sense that Erming's aura had swelled drastically as he held onto the staff. This sudden increase in aura brought about a genuine increase in strength. Could it be that Erming was born with an innate talent for playing with sticks? How did the young man know? Big brother. Did little madman give this stick a name? The Titan giant ape roared happily. Yes. What's his name? At first, it was called Jingu Bang. Then, it was changed to Heaven-Raising Staff. I'll let you choose. I like the Heaven-Raising Rod. Heaven Do City. Shrek Academy. Grandmaster Tang was standing in his room, staring out the window into the distance. Beside him, Flinder and Lu Erlong were also present. Little gang, these kids have all reached rank 40 recently. It's time for us to take them to obtain their 4th soul rings. Flinder suddenly asked, is there still no news about Lin Feng? 5 months ago, Wang Feng had ventured into the Great Star Do Forest by himself to obtain his 4th soul ring. Only Grandmaster Tang knew about this. However, news of Lin Feng's disappearance naturally couldn't be kept a secret, and Flinder and Lu Erlong had also asked about it. Tang San and the others from Shrek also asked about it. Grandmaster Tang shook his head and said, no, but Lin Feng said that he'll come back when the time comes, and that we shouldn't go looking for him. Lu Erlong suddenly rose to her feet upon hearing this, and her brows furrowed. I said that Flinder and I should have gone together a month ago. His 4th soul ring is definitely a 30,000-year one. You want a rank 40 soul master to defeat a 30,000-year soul beast? How difficult is that? Lin Feng said that the thorny Xuanwu turtle was about to die from its injuries, and he was frightened by the sworddaw, so he killed it in the end. His 2nd soul ring was because he saved the soul beast child, and the soul beast willingly let him absorb it. How can he be so lucky this time? Flinder furrowed his brows as he listened. Zhao Wuji was also a little worried when he heard this. Back in the Great Star Do Forest, Lin Feng had been captured by the Titan giant ape, and his life had been hanging by a thread. However, he had obtained a huge opportunity and obtained a 30,000-year soul ring. They all knew about this. However, how could he encounter such an opportunity this time? Trust him, Grandmaster muttered. It's not that we don't trust him, but Lin Feng was able to withstand 2 of Dugu Bo's attacks, and his strength is comparable to that of a rank 60 soul master. His physique isn't inferior to Zhao Wuji's. Lu Erlong said, but don't you know how many soul masters there are in the Great Star Do Forest? It's not difficult for him to kill a 10,000-year soul beast. However, what if he's surrounded? What if he's discovered by those 50,000-year, 70,000-year, or 80,000-year soul beasts? Grandmaster furrowed his brows and remained silent. Lu Erlong's words were also what he was worried about. The Great Star Do Forest was still too dangerous. With Lin Feng's strength, killing ordinary 10,000-year soul beasts wasn't a problem, and he had a chance to kill those below 20,000 years. However, it would be difficult for him to kill 30,000-year soul beasts, and it would be extremely difficult for him to kill 40,000-year soul beasts. If he encountered 50,000-year or 60,000-year soul beasts, he might not even be able to escape. If he encountered 70,000-year-soul beasts, he would only die. Also, you lied to those kids and said that Lin Feng went to cultivate for half a year. It's almost half a year now, and Lin Feng still hasn't returned. Flinder whispered. How are you going to tell them? This problem was even more serious. Tang San and the others all thought that Wang Feng had gone to cultivate. They were all waiting for him to return. Especially those two girls they often come to ask. One of them is fine. She's too embarrassed to ask so often. Rong Rong, that girl, comes to ask me every day. I don't even know how to answer her. Lu Erlong coughed a few times. It's almost half a year now, and they're all at rank 40. We're about to take them to get their 4th soul ring. What should we do if they ask again? The few of them were discussing anxiously. At this moment, a guard suddenly walked into the room. Grandmaster, there's a letter for you. Grandmaster was stunned when he heard this. He took the letter and quickly read it. After reading it, the Grandmaster slowly folded the letter and revealed a smile on his face. All right, let the 7 of them gather. There's still half a month before the Advanced Soul Master Tournament begins. Try your best to let each of them obtain a soul ring. Chapter 291. Hearing this, Flinder and Lu Erlong were stunned. What about Little Feng? You don't care? Flinder immediately stood up and said in a deep voice, If you do this, then I'll have to go to the Stardow Forest personally. Erlong, you lead the team to protect those 7 children and get their soul rings. Lu Erlong shook her head and said, Boss Flinder, I'm stronger than you. The Stardow Forest is much more dangerous than the Sunset Forest. Let me go. Flinder, all right, he's already back. The master smiled mysteriously and said, Not only is he back, he has also obtained his 4th soul ring, and his level has also increased to rank 45. Hearing this, the room was slightly quiet. Flinder and Lu Erlong were also stunned. What did you say? Rank 45? Flinder gasped in shock. Is it the letter just now? Lu Erlong glanced at the master and said indifferently. The master nodded and said, That's right. He told us in the letter that he has returned, and I'll show it to you guys. As he spoke, the master showed the letter to the 3 of them. After reading it, the 3 of them were silent. He really wants to do this. Flinder thought for a moment and pushed his glasses. Tang San and the other 7 have improved a lot in the past 6 months. Lu Erlong smiled with a hint of charm. I think it's quite interesting. Rank 45, unbelievable. Little gang, how old is he this year? 14. 14 years old, rank 45. Flinder sighed softly. On the continent, there shouldn't be many who can reach this level at this age, right? Mubai has just reached rank 45, and he is still relying on Little Feng's special placement cultivation method. Otherwise, Mubai should still be around rank 44. The initial placement cultivation method was to train and cultivate at the same time to let the body get used to training, and the spirit was to meditate and cultivate. Later on, it was used in various aspects of life. Although the 7 of them still didn't learn it, there were some results. Right? In the letter, it didn't say anything about the soul ring he obtained. Lu Erlong looked at the letter. According to my calculations, at this moment, the Grandmaster pondered for a moment. Lin Feng's soul power is special, and his body is also special. I'm afraid it's several times harder for him to increase his soul ring compared to normal soul masters. Being able to increase his soul ring by 5 ranks in half a year means that the quality of his soul ring is very high. According to my estimation, it should be around 40,000 years. Hearing this, the 2 of them widened their eyes. 40,000 years? He can't possibly kill them, right? Flinder couldn't help but say, a 40,000-year ordinary soul beast is equivalent to a soul sage over rank 70. If it's slightly stronger, even Zhao Wuji would be smashed apart. Zhao Wuji, Little Feng should be able to kill one that is around 30,000 years old. The Grandmaster glanced at the 2 of them. 40,000 years old. It requires a certain amount of luck, but it might not be impossible. Kill for 30,000 years? That's equivalent to a rank 70 soul sage. Lu Erlong said in astonishment. However, he was able to withstand Douluo's palm strike back then. Zhao Wuji, you said that he was able to withstand 100% of the Titan's pressure without dying. His physical body isn't inferior to yours. In fact, it might even be stronger. It's possible to kill a 30,000-year soul beast, but the difference in soul power level is too big after all. It's not that easy, right? Lu Erlong knew that Wang Feng's physique was special, but his soul power level wasn't high after all. How could he kill a soul beast that was so many ranks higher? Killing a soul beast and withstanding its pressure were two different things. 40,000 years was too exaggerated. Even if she faced a 30,000-year soul beast, it would be difficult for her to kill it. 40,000 years was even more difficult. Unless the three of them joined forces to use a martial soul fusion skill, it would be easier to kill it. Soul masters also need to rely on luck. Don't guess anymore. When you see him, just ask him face to face, the Grandmaster said indifferently. The two of them nodded. After receiving the news that Wang Feng had returned safely, they were relieved. Not long after, in the square, Flender gathered Tang, San's team of 7. In nearly half a year, the 7 of them had some changes. On one hand, they had broken through to rank 40. The first to break through was Ning Rongrong. After her martial soul had mutated, her cultivation speed had greatly increased. Furthermore, according to her description, the strength of her body had slowly improved due to the power of the stars in her martial soul and the residual medicinal power. She was now much stronger than ordinary auxiliary-type soul masters. Compared to Oscar, who was also an auxiliary-type soul master, she was even stronger. The second was Zhu Zhuqing. Similarly, after her martial soul mutated, her cultivation speed had greatly increased. Coupled with her diligence, she reached rank 40 the second. The third was Oscar. Oscar's 9th immortal orchid petal and the light golden sausage provided him with an even faster cultivation speed. The three of them reached rank 40 almost every few days. Then was Tang San Mahong Jun. Xiao Wu had reached rank 39 and was still a distance away from rank 40. Speaking of which, it was all thanks to the cultivation method provided by Wang Feng. It had been a year and a half. It allowed them to reach rank 40 more than a month earlier. However, the Grandmaster said that after reaching rank 40, they could continue to cultivate and accumulate soul power. After breaking through, they would improve even more, so they weren't in a hurry to obtain the 4th soul ring. And today, they were finally going to obtain their 4th soul ring. However, because there was one less person this time, the 7 of them were slightly silent. They were mainly worried about Wang Feng. After all, it had been half a year and they hadn't seen a single shadow. Even if the Grandmaster said that he had gone into seclusion to cultivate, there hadn't been any news in this half a year. Today, other than Mu Bai, the rest of you have stabilized at rank 40. It's time to go to the setting sun forest. Flender looked at them and said slowly, "The reason why I want the 7 of you to go together is to let you undergo actual combat training. After all, the Advanced Soul Master Tournament is coming soon. This time, I want to let you obtain your 4th soul ring to train your team. It can also be considered the first stage of your graduation exam." Hearing this, Xiao Wu asked curiously, "Dean, how can we be considered to have passed? Do you want the 7 of us to hunt soul beasts?" Flender nodded slightly. "That's right. This time, you need to rely on the strength of your team to hunt soul beasts. Because the tournament will be held soon, you need to work together as a team. So this is a training for you. You have to hunt soul beasts without the 3 of us doing anything. This is one of the conditions for passing." This one of the conditions immediately made everyone frown. Other than that, Flender looked at everyone and smiled. "There is a second condition. For this trip, we have invited a mysterious expert. After you enter the setting sun forest, you will undergo special training. This expert will appear at any time and anywhere to attack you. This is to test your ability to adapt." Hearing this, everyone was surprised, but they could understand. "Dean, what is his approximate strength?" Mahong Jun asked curiously. "Roughly a 6-ring soul emperor," the Grandmaster suddenly said. Hearing this, everyone suddenly heaved a sigh of relief. A six-ring Soul Emperor wasn't difficult for the seven of them to deal with. To be precise, it was quite simple. No problem, Ma Hongjun said casually. It's not that easy for a six-ring Soul Emperor to attack us Shrek's 7 monsters. Chapter 292. Hearing Ma Hongjun's words, the Dean, Lu Erlong, and Grandmaster looked at each other and saw the smiles in their eyes. There's no requirement? Dai Mubai asked curiously. There is. Lu Erlong smiled and said, he's wearing a mask. If you can remove his mask, you'll be considered to have finished your special training early and pass with special permission. This requirement was considered normal. It was similar to an additional question. If you completed it, you'd get extra points. If you couldn't complete it, it was fine. Flender looked at the 7 of them and continued. All right, this information is enough. You'll have to find out more after entering the Setting Sun Forest. Everyone nodded. However, they couldn't give you any information about this six-ringed Soul Emperor. After all, you couldn't know the enemy so well. Grandmaster, when exactly will Brother Feng be back? At this moment, Tang San suddenly asked. He's been cultivating in seclusion for half a year. It's almost time, right? Hearing this, everyone suddenly fell silent. Ning Rongrong looked at the 3 of them impatiently. She wanted to ask just now. He had just cultivated in seclusion for half a year and returned to the academy not long ago. How could he cultivate in seclusion again? The others also looked at Grandmaster curiously. He said he'll be back in a few days. Grandmaster looked at them. He should be back by the time you get your soul rings and return to the academy. Flender, who was at the side, also smiled and said, maybe you'll meet him when you come back. Grandmaster Flender's words calmed everyone down. Really? Dean? Ning Rongrong was originally a little down, but after hearing the 2's words, she was immediately filled with motivation and her face glowed. Zhu Zhuqing nodded slightly, her eyes filled with anticipation. We'll be able to see Brother Feng when he comes back. I wonder where he's been for the past half a year? Xiao Wu swung Tang San's newly combed scorpion braids. Without Captain, I missed the taste of hot sausages. Oscar slurped as if he was reminiscing. Monster Captain should have gotten his 4th soul ring this time, right? Ma Hongjun rubbed his chin as he pondered. When we return, we'll probably obtain our 4th soul ring and become soul ancestors. I wonder if we'll still be able to defeat him then? I haven't fought with Captain in a long time. I miss it. Dai Mubai clenched his fists. Seeing that everyone's interest had suddenly become high, Flender nodded slightly. Well, Tang San, as the commander of the team this time, you'll lead the team. Tang San nodded and immediately began to assign tasks to everyone. This time, they had gone to the Setting Sun Forest to obtain their 4th soul ring. Because everyone had consumed the immortal herb, their physical qualities had been greatly enhanced. He could consider surpassing the age of the soul beast and obtaining a soul ring of about 5,000 years. When the time came, he could then select and absorb it according to the soul beast's age and characteristics. Because of the extra special training, we must be careful. Tang Sen pondered. Xiao Ao, you must prepare enough of your mushroom sausage for everyone, just in case. First, let's talk about soul beasts. If we encounter a soul beast, the 7 of us will form a very simple team. Mubai, Xiao Wu, and I will be in charge of attacking. Zhu Qing will be in charge of restraining it. Hong Jun, you'll be in charge of protecting Rongrong and Oscar from the back and attacking from afar. As for soul beasts, remember not to kill them directly, otherwise we won't be able to choose. If necessary, Oscar, you can also give your sausage to a dying soul beast. Everyone nodded slightly. Another point is the special training for this 6-ringed soul emperor. Tang Sen looked at everyone and said seriously, since he's a friend invited by Grandmaster, he must not be simple. He might attack us at any time. It could be when we're sleeping, when we're on the road, when we're eating and resting, or even when we're hunting soul beasts. As for the 6-ringed soul emperor, we can't defeat him alone. Plus, we don't know much about him. However, this 6-ringed soul emperor might know a lot about us through Grandmaster, but we know nothing about him. Therefore, we have to be very careful. Hongjun, don't be careless. Ma Hongjun laughed and said, Brother San, you can even defeat the rank 58 Tinin. You don't have to be so serious, right? Tang Sin shook his head and said, it's not that simple. I can't defeat a rank 60 Soul Emperor even if I use hidden weapons. Also, I said, what if that 6-ring Soul Emperor knows a lot about us? If he's prepared for my hidden weapons, we won't have any chance of winning. Hearing this, the smile on Ma Hongjuan's face faded slightly. Tang San's words were very reasonable. What if the other party knew a lot about them through Grandmaster? The 7 of them didn't know anything. After entering the Setting Sun Forest, we have to be very careful. No matter what, we can't act alone. Tang Sin looked at the 7 of them. At least we have to act in groups of 2. Xiao Wu and I will be in one group. Xiao Ao, Hongjun, and Mu Bai, you 3 will be in another group. Zhu Qing and Rong Rong will be in another group. Okay, everyone agreed. After discussing, the group set off for the Setting Sun Forest. Flinder looked at the 7 of them and whispered, Xiao Gang, do you think they can take off his mask? It's a little difficult. Let's wait and see. It's been almost half a year, and their strength is increasing. Grandmaster pondered for a moment before saying slowly, however, Lin Feng's strength should be increasing even faster. I feel that their only chance to take off his mask. Lu Erlong looked at one of the figures with some deep meaning. Maybe it's on her. The Setting Sun Forest was very close to Heavendoe City. This was also the place where Heavendoe City and the nearby cities hunted soul beasts. Unlike the soul-hunting forest, which was controlled by humans, the Setting Sun Forest didn't have powerful soul beasts like the Titan giant ape. However, there were still many 10,000-year soul beasts that weren't easy to deal with. Fortunately, the Setting Sun Forest wasn't as dense as the Great Star Doe Forest due to its geographical location. The Setting Sun Forest feels a little weaker than the Great Star Doe Forest. The 7 of them didn't encounter many thousand-year soul beasts along the way. They were slightly weaker than the Great Star Doe Forest. Furthermore, the Setting Sun Forest wasn't as big as the Great Star Doe Forest. Furthermore, there were many cities around it, and soul beasts were hunted wantonly. The quality of the soul beasts here was naturally much worse than the Great Star Doe Forest. At this moment, the sound of fighting could be heard from afar. There seems to be a fight up ahead. Dai Mubai was leading the way, and he immediately sensed it. At the same time, Tang Sin also sensed it. At this time, Zhu Zhuqing landed on a big tree nearby with a swoosh, and her cold voice slowly sounded. Her cold voice rang out. It's people from the other academies in Heavendoe City. They're wearing academy uniforms, and there are 2 guys and 1 girl hunting a soul beast. The situation doesn't look good. She was in charge of scouting, and she immediately went to investigate when she heard the sounds. Should we go and take a look? Zhu Zhuqing asked. Tang Sin pondered for a moment before saying, let's take a look. We can't act rashly. End of chapter. Chapter 293. The rest of them nodded in agreement. Not long after, they approached the location of the battle. 2 men and a woman were fighting with a giant soul-eating flower. But at this moment, the 2 men had already fallen to the side, leaving only the woman, who was running around in all directions. The 3 of them were wearing the Academy's uniform. It's a 1,000-year soul-eating flower. Tang Sin took a look and said, this kind of soul beast is more difficult to deal with, but it's also quite strong. It's a pity that it's a 1,000-year one. If it's a 3,000-year or 4,000-year one, it should be more suitable for Zhu Qing. Because this soul-eating flower has a special characteristic. As long as it causes injuries to the opponent, it can increase the opponent's soul power consumption. It's very troublesome. Everyone was enlightened. As a soul beast encyclopedia, Tang San explained it clearly. And this girl seems to be quite pretty. Suddenly, Ma Hongjuan's eyes lit up as he looked at the girl who was running around. This girl's face was as white as snow, and her long hair fluttered in the wind. Although she was running and looked a little nervous, it couldn't hide her gentle and beautiful temperament. Dai Mubai and Oscar's eyes also lit up. Third brother, let's make a move. Ning Rong Rong said, this soul-eating flower isn't strong. Fatima's phoenix is the bane of this kind of plant soul beast. Furthermore, this soul-eating flower is injured now. I'll give Fatty a buff, and he should be able to defeat it in one move. Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing also nodded. Tang Xin sized up the girl for a while and didn't find anything wrong with her. He smiled at Ma Hongjun and said, Fatty, I'll give you a chance to be a hero and save the beauty. Ma Hongjun was already impatient from waiting. After Ning Rongrong gave him a buff, Ma Hongjun directly rushed out. Phoenix possession. Ma Hongjun jumped and was extremely excited. He thought to himself, I didn't expect that Ma Hongjun, would have a chance to be a hero and save the beauty. The last time was in Soto City, and I wasn't as strong as her. This time, Ma Hongjun, finally have a chance to show off my power. He was like a god descending from the heavens as he used his third soul skill, Phoenix Soaring Sky. He flew into the air and spat out a phoenix fire line that landed directly on the soul-eating flower. Finally, he landed gracefully in front of the woman. Thank you. The woman's soft voice sounded. Hearing this voice, Ma Hongjun's bones melted. He turned around, intending to get to know her. However, the moment he turned around, what welcomed him was not a woman's gentle and beautiful face, but a huge fist. Bang! With one punch, Ma Hongjun was like a spinning top, flying several rounds in the air. It smashed into a big tree in the distance. Everyone was stunned. At this time, the woman looked at Tang San and the others in the distance and said with a smile, It's you guys, right? You don't even have the slightest bit of vigilance. If I were the enemy today, this fatty would already be dead. Next time, I won't let you off so easily. Her voice was low, elegant, and slightly neutral. After saying that, the woman suddenly vanished on the spot like a gust of wind, causing everyone to be shocked repeatedly. Did you notice it? Dai Mubai's body shrank as he looked at Tang San. No, it was too fast. Silently, Tang San said in a low voice. What's going on? Ning Rongrong was still a little confused. She seemed to have thought of something and suddenly said, Could it be that she's that six-ringed soul emperor? Tang San nodded with a heavy expression. Everyone was slightly stunned. Except for Tang San, they had forgotten about the others. Because this group of people did not encounter any attacks when they came here. They did not expect to encounter her like this. The six of them walked to Ma Hongjun's side. It was only one punch just now, but now Ma Hongjun's entire face was swollen. After a while, he slowly woke up. What's going on? Ma Hongjun still felt a little confused as he looked at everyone. Tang San said in a low voice, It should be a trap just now. That six-ringed soul emperor appeared. It's that woman just now. She deliberately tested us, but we didn't notice. We also didn't expect that she would use such a method. What? A six-ringed soul emperor is a woman? Ma Hongjun also remembered and couldn't help but wail. Why am I always the one who suffers? She disguised herself too well. Tang Xin thought for a moment and said in a low voice, I'm afraid it won't be so easy for us to pass this time. Moreover, I don't think she's a woman. She's just pretending. Otherwise, the master and the dean wouldn't have taken off her mask as the goal to pass the test. Oscar helped Ma Hongjun up and clicked his tongue. This six-ringed soul emperor is not simple. We have to be more vigilant. I don't know what will happen if we meet him head-on. Tang Xin looked at Ma Hongjun and sighed. He took advantage of our kindness. Which normal person would be indifferent when they see a beautiful woman being chased by a soul beast? It's fine if he's not strong, but it's very easy for us. Moreover, I'm afraid he knows you very well. He knows that your soul skill is the most effective against plant-type soul skills. In addition, you're a pervert. When you see such a situation, you'll definitely be the first to save the damsel in distress. We're still too relaxed. Everyone nodded. Let's continue. This time, we must not touch others casually. The seven of them continued to walk forward. The master, Flender, and Lu Erlong followed behind them. That's Lin Feng, Lu Erlong said in surprise. His disguise is too good, right? I didn't even recognize him. The master thought to himself, Lin Feng's disguise skill is extraordinary. If you didn't recognize him, those seven children probably didn't either. Ma Hongjun still can't change his personality. I hope we can teach him a good lesson this time. Flinder laughed and said, let's go. Let's keep up. The sky gradually darkened. Night fell. Let's find a place to set up the tent. We should stop here for today, Tang San said and glanced at the master and the other two behind him. At night, in the sunset forest, because the vegetation was not dense, the sky full of stars could be seen. Wow, come and see. So many beautiful insects. At this time, Xiao Wu's excited voice sounded. Tang San and the other boys looked to the side and saw many insects emitting rainbow-colored light floating in the distance. Little San, are these insects dangerous? Dai Mubai looked at them vigilantly. These are rainbow insects. Tang San shook his head and said, they belong to the lowest class of soul beasts. They are rarely seen in 100 years. Most of them are more than 10 years old. They are not dangerous and will emit rainbow-colored light in the night sky. Only soul masters with ordinary martial souls will absorb them. They are usually used for household lighting. They are rarely used in big cities. Only soul masters in more remote villages will use them. Hearing Tang San's explanation, the few of them also understood and nodded their heads one after another. So beautiful. Ning Rongrong grabbed a rainbow insect with her hand, her eyes shining. The others also grabbed one out of curiosity. End of chapter. Chapter 294. Just then, brother, I think there are other bugs of different colors. Xiao was very playful. She caught several bugs with one hand. She looked to the other side and saw that there were other bugs of different colors, so she caught several of them with her hand as well. Ning Rongrong also ran over to catch some. Zhu Zhuqing was the most accurate. She caught several bugs in succession and then tied them up in a bag. The bag glowed brightly and looked very beautiful. Oscar also caught several bugs with great interest. He said with a smile, these bugs are pretty, but aren't they dangerous at all? In the night sky, these specks of light added a bit of beauty to the scene. Dangerous? Tang San was stunned. He thought for a moment and said, if you want to talk about danger, they are, unless, at this point, Tang San suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. He abruptly yelled at Xiao Wu, Ning Rongrong, and Zhu Zhuqing. Xiao Wu, Rongrong, and Zhuqing, throw out the bugs in your hands. Xiao Wu was stunned. She was about to throw out the beautiful bugs she caught in the bag. The next moment, the bugs in her bag were gone. Boom! There was a burst of intense light. The bags in which Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing had caught the bugs also burst into bursts of light. The light emitted by the fog was unusually dazzling. There seemed to be a special kind of mist in the fog that was extremely unpleasant to the nose. It caused the expressions of these people to change drastically. A wave of nausea swept over them, and their bodies became weak. Danger! Tang San was the closest. As soon as he finished speaking, he ran toward Xiao Wu. As for Oscar, Dai Mubai, and Ma Hongjun, they subconsciously closed their eyes under the intense light. Tang San immediately activated his purple demon eyes. He didn't close his eyes. However, the moment he activated his purple demon eyes, he barely caught a glimpse of a ghostly figure darting through the crowd. Swoosh! Swoosh! Bang! 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 Except for Tang San, the others seemed to be sent flying by a huge force and fell to the ground. Bang! In Tang San's purple demon eyes, his opponent's figure completely disappeared. Then a huge force attacked him from behind. It was too fast. Tang San had just released his blue-silver grass and hadn't even activated his martial soul when he felt a terrifying force send him flying from behind. It landed on the ground with a loud thud. Before the light mist dissipated, the 7 of them had already fallen to the ground. His vigilance is still too weak. The 7 of you are too weak. A cold sneer seemed to come from all directions. That's it. Don't talk about taking off my mask. You can't even touch my shadow. As soon as he finished speaking, the light mist was quickly blown away by a huge ball of energy. It was Flinder and the other 2. However, the figure had already disappeared. Are the 7 of you all right? Zhao Wuji looked at them and couldn't help but smile. The 7 of them were lying on the ground in 7 or 8 different directions, with footprints all over their bodies. His nose was bruised, and his face was a little red. Tang San was the first to wake up. His face was even more serious. He rubbed the back of his shoulder and felt that it was still a little painful. Not long after, the others slowly got up from the ground. "Brother, what happened just now?" Xiao Wu rubbed her lower abdomen. She had been kicked and was sent flying. Ning Rongrong also got up. Her face was covered in dust, and there was a footprint on her, but Zhu Zhuqing was fine, but there was a footprint on her back. F***CK. I didn't even have time to react before I was sent flying by a huge force. Ma Hongjun rubbed his right shoulder. Oscar and Dai Mubai also stood up. Their faces were a little ugly. They had heard the cold sneer very clearly. "It's the rainbow light bug and the green firefly." Tang Sin coughed a few times and sighed softly. These 2 types of soul beasts are very weak. Most of them are a few years old or a dozen years old. It's usually not easy to distinguish them. They are very weak. Ordinary people can kill them. One of them is not dangerous. But if they come into contact with each other, there will be an intense light fog that will cause us to temporarily lose our vision. If we don't use our martial souls in advance, it's very easy to get hit. There will also be an extremely smelly fog in this light fog that will affect people's minds. It's a very obscure knowledge about soul beasts. If Oscar hadn't asked me in advance, I wouldn't have thought of it. After hearing this, everyone fell silent. These 2 types of insects are very beautiful at night. That 6-ring soul emperor knew that Xiao Wu and the other 2 girls would definitely collect these insects. Tang San sighed and said, "Once he collected them, the 2 types of insects will come into contact with each other, and there will definitely be a light fog." We were very close to each other, so we were all hit. He waited for an opportunity to strike, and without using any strength, he knocked us all down. If it was an enemy just now, we would all be dead. Everyone felt a chill in their hearts. Not only is this 6-ringed soul emperor terrifying, but he also has all kinds of traps. Tang San also felt a chill in his heart. Actually, in that stage just now, we still had the ability to fight back, but he was really too fast. I'm afraid he's an agility type soul master. I opened my eyes just now, but I didn't see his specific appearance clearly. I could only hear his voice. After hearing Tang San's words, the other 6 people suddenly felt a little scared. "Master, who is this friend of yours? Is he so powerful?" Ma Hongjun rubbed his face. He had not recovered from the punch in the afternoon. His old injuries had not healed, and now there were new injuries. Especially these injuries. They were not fatal, but they were painful. "What? Now you know how powerful he is?" Flender couldn't help but laugh. Before coming, who said that it's not that easy for a mere 6-ringed soul emperor to attack a Shrek's 7 monsters? "Ma Hongjun, you guys, this is the 2nd time." Lu Erlong shook her head and said, "But you don't even know his specific appearance. His size, his clothes, and his specific strength, you don't know anything. If you want to take off his mask in this state, it should be possible in your dreams." The master also looked at them and said, "You can apply to lower the requirements to take off the mask and reduce it to seeing the other party's specific appearance or forcing the other party to use a soul skill. You'll pass the test." Everyone fell silent. Before coming, everyone was full of confidence. Although a 6-ring soul emperor was powerful, they were a rank 40 team and the golden battle soul team. Their strength had increased greatly now. How could they be afraid of a 6-ringed soul emperor? But they didn't expect that after 2 confrontations, they couldn't even see the other party's specific appearance. How could they play like this? "All right, let's rest first. You guys can arrange for your own people to guard the night." Flender coughed a few times and walked into the tent with Zhao Wuji. "Mubai and I will guard the night." Tang San's expression was incomparably solemn. "I'm afraid one person is not enough. When it's time to rotate, let's also form a team of 2. This 6-ringed soul emperor is much more difficult to deal with than those 10,000-year soul beasts. We can't continue like this." End of this chapter. Chapter 295. Why didn't he attack us openly? Ma Hongjun couldn't help but mutter. "There are 7 of us. Do you think he's stupid to attack you openly?" Xiao Wu glared at Ma Hongjun. Ma Hongjun chuckled and walked into the tent. Oscar gave them the mushroom sausages and grilled sausages and walked into the tent as well. "Brother, I'll go too," Xiao Wu whispered. "No need. Xiao Wu, you go to sleep." Tang San shook his head. "This six-ring soul emperor is too powerful. Save your energy. Not only do we have to face soul beasts, but this six-ring soul emperor is probably our biggest enemy." Xiao Wu nodded and walked into the tent. "I feel a little defeated." Dai Mubai was beside the bonfire. "I feel like we're already very strong. Although the other party is in the dark, we feel like we're completely under his control. The enemy is in the dark, while we're in the light. He's Master's friend, so his understanding of soul beasts and martial souls is definitely better than ours." Tang San pondered. "We can only force him to fight with us openly. Only then will we have a chance to pass the special training test. If only I reacted in time." Dai Mubai patted Tang San's shoulder and said, "Don't belittle yourself. If it were me, the situation would be worse." Tang San nodded slightly and suddenly thought, if Brother Feng was here, what would he do? Dai Mubai shook his head. How would he know? But he wouldn't be so passive, right? With that monster captain's ability at this moment in another tent. "This kid is really powerful," Zhao Wuji whispered. "The seven of them must have suffered a big blow, right? Speaking of which, we didn't see his face. Doesn't this mean that his attack and disguise are very good?" Flinders said with a smile. The two of them chatted. At this moment, they suddenly heard a rustling sound from the side. "Erlong, don't be like this. I don't care. I've waited for more than 10 years. You got my body, but you can't get my heart. We're siblings. You can't do this." "I don't care. I've held it in for more than 10 years. I don't want your heart. I want your body. Xiao Gang, stop torturing us. It's been so many years. Can't you release your heart?" Zhao Wuji and Flinder. Zhao Wuji, turn off your hearing ability. Flinder moved closer to Zhao Wuji and tapped his body a few times. He didn't want to listen to a sex scene. "Flinder, what kind of rotten idea is this?" Zhao Wuji also tapped on his body a few times and quickly shut off his hearing. In the past 6 months, the Master and Lu Erlong could only be said to have barely recovered their relationship, but the two of them had never been close. But Master had always been hiding, and Lu's had never had a chance. That was the reason for tonight's scene. "Erlong, I'm T. How am I supposed to turn around and look at you if I don't?" Fortunately, Flinder and Zhao Wuji had both turned off their hearing and couldn't see or hear anything. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in such an ambiguous position right now. Outside, Tang Sen had a serious expression on his face as he stared at the enormous soul beast in front of him. It had the appearance of a scorpion, and its entire body was snow white. The scorpion tail on its back had a total of 9 segments that were raised up high and emitted an intense cold light. At the end of its tail was a fiery red hook. Almost immediately, Dai Mubai rushed forward to face the flames spewing out from the tail hook. "King of the Earth, I didn't expect to encounter such a soul beast tonight," Tang Sen whispered. At this moment, Shrek and the others in the tent quickly walked out and looked at the soul beast. "Brother? What's going on? Is this the work of that 6-ringed soul emperor?" Xiao Wu walked to Tang San and asked. Tang San shook his head. "I don't know. What soul beast is this?" Ma Hongjun looked at it. "Should we go?" "King of the Earth. It's a fire-type, high-grade soul beast. This King of the Earth is about 4,500 years old. It's quite suitable for you, Fatima." Tang San thought for a while and said, "Let's go. That 6-ringed soul emperor shouldn't attack us today." Everyone nodded, just as they were about to attack. At this moment, a figure rushed out from another tent and charged towards the King of the Earth. That manic figure made them stop in their tracks almost instantly. "It's Teacher Erlong," Xiao Wu exclaimed. "Why do I feel that something is wrong?" Everyone looked over and felt their hearts tremble. Although Lu Erlong's clothes were a little messy, she seemed to have gone crazy as she rushed towards the King of the Earth. There was a hint of madness on her face, which made everyone tremble in fear. Her 7 soul rings suddenly lit up, and a fire dragon emerged from her body. Dense scales instantly covered her entire body, and she let out a dragon's roar that woke up the pitch-black night sky. Martial soul, true body. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect Lu Erlong to use her martial soul true body to deal with a 4,000-year king of the earth. Isn't that too terrifying? Dai Mubai was sent flying by the king of the earth's fire pillar. He was in a daze as he watched Lu Erlong use her martial soul true body to rush towards the king of the earth. After using her martial soul true body, Lu Erlong's strength increased exponentially. Everyone felt a chill in their hearts as they watched this scene. The king of earth was brutally beaten by Lu Erlong, who had activated her martial soul true body. As the king of the earth, it wasn't weak. Even if it encountered Tang, San, and the rest, it wouldn't be difficult for it to escape. Unfortunately, he was targeted by Lu Erlong, who had activated her martial soul true body. If it had 10 to 20,000 years, it might be able to fight. Even if it couldn't win, it could still escape. Unfortunately, it was only a 4,000-year king of the earth. In Lu Erlong's hands, its scorpion tail was grabbed and smashed into the ground like a windmill. At this moment, suddenly, a pink fog began to spread in the surroundings. This fog came extremely quickly and instantly filled the entire camp. You guys be careful. This fog might be poisonous. Flender and Zhao Wuji, who had just come out of the tent, shouted. As they spoke, they felt that something was wrong. They quickly used their soul power to disperse the pink poisonous fog. However, it didn't take long for the pink poisonous mist to converge again. This pink mist was slightly fragrant and sweet, making people feel immersed in it. Even their blood flowed faster. Be careful. This isn't ordinary miasma. Oscar detoxifying sausage. Tang San's purple demon eyes scanned the surroundings, and he was slightly shocked. When they entered the forest, in order to prevent the miasma in the forest, he gave them miasma pills that could prevent the miasma. However, they couldn't stop this pink fog. It seemed that the king of the earth wasn't acting alone. It had companions. Not long after, under the surveillance of his purple demon eyes, Tang San saw a pink scorpion in the distance, using its tail to emit a pink fog. Chapter 296. It's a soul beast. It seems like the king of the earth isn't the only one. Teacher Lu, be careful. Don't breathe in this fog. Tang San's blue-silver grass quickly spread in all directions as he sensed the number of soul beasts around them. He was also shocked. These two soul beasts seemed to be working together. It might not be a coincidence. Could it be that six-ringed soul emperor? Everyone, activate your martial souls. That six-ringed soul emperor might be coming. Tang San warned them. Even without his reminder, the rest of them had already activated their martial souls. They were evidently a little fearful and were very cautious. When Tang San saw this, he quickly took out the delicate silk immortal that he had plucked from the ice-fire Yin-Yang well. The light purple stamen was like a brick emitting a shiny luster. Almost at the instant it appeared, it emitted a purple air current, quickly driving away the surrounding pink fog. This item could defend against poison and was the nemesis of this pink fog. Everyone, don't leave this place. Dean, Master, Teacher Zhao, come over too. Tang San said in a deep voice. This pink fog was created by a soul beast. I didn't expect the king of the earth to be alone. It probably has companions. Master, ask Teacher Lu to come back quickly. If she continues to fight like this, she might go crazy if she absorbs the fog. Master frowned slightly and shouted at Lu Erlong, who was still beating the king of the earth. Erlong, come back. Right now, the king of the earth was still breathing, and its body was still intact. If this continued, its entire body would probably be torn apart by Lu Erlong. When Lu Erlong heard this, she snorted coldly. She looked at the king of the earth, who was still alive, and returned to Master's side. However, her expression was very bad, and she was furious. Master, can your soul emperor's friend even control soul beasts? Ma Hongjun wiped his cold sweat. Master shook his head and said, not necessarily. The two soul beasts might have come over by themselves. When she heard this, Lu Erlong's expression turned even worse. Teacher, the one who released the pink fog should be the pink lady. Tang Xin said softly at this moment. Pink lady, what's that? Xiao Wu asked curiously. It's also a scorpion-type soul beast, similar to the king of the earth. It's a poisonous soul beast, but its poison is very weak. It's usually pink all over, so it's called the Pink Queen. Master frowned and said, There's so much fog. I'm afraid it can't be a pink lady. Yes, not just one. Tang Xin looked around. I'm afraid there are thousands of them. I didn't expect them to appear here, but I didn't sense the aura of that six-ringed soul emperor. I wonder if he did this? When they heard the number of thousands, they were stunned. If it's really him, I'll have to teach you a lesson later. Lu Erlong's complexion turned somewhat ugly. He thought to himself, if Lin Feng really is the one who ordered these soul beasts to interrupt me, then whether it's a coincidence or not, I'll beat you up. If it's thousands of them, then I'm afraid the Pink Queen is among them. Master was silent for a moment and said, Only this kind of Pink Queen that mutated from the Pink Lady can control so many Pink Ladies. The Pink Queen is usually at least 3,000 years old, and it has to devour 100 of its kind to evolve and mutate. According to my guess, I'm afraid the Pink Queen and the King of the Earth are a pair, which is why they attack together. Tang Xin pondered and said, The poisonous fog released by the Pink Queen can make people go crazy. This kind of soul beast is a good match for Oscar, and that King of the Earth should be the most suitable for Fatty. That King of the Earth has an extremely tenacious vitality. What a pity, Master sighed and said, I'm afraid this Pink Queen wants to create a chance for the King of the Earth to escape. I don't think it wants to attack us. When everyone heard this, they were enlightened. I'll rush out and kill these two soul beasts. Oscar, give me 2 antidote sausages. Lu Erlong said coldly without any fear. It's night now, and the poisonous fog covers a huge area. It won't be easy to find the Pink Queen in such a short time. If we meet other soul beasts, it will be even more troublesome. Tang Xin suggested, Teacher Lu, let's wait for daybreak. The Pink Queen only wants to cover the King of the Earth's escape. It won't attack us first. Moving at night was the most dangerous, because they didn't know what kind of soul rings they would encounter, and because their vision was limited, it would be very troublesome if they were entangled. In addition, everyone was tired after rushing for a day. No, I can't let this beast leave like this. If we wait until daybreak, we won't be able to find it at all. Lu Erlong said angrily. Dai Mubai and the rest were frightened. They didn't know what happened to make Lu Erlong so angry. Little 3 is right. Erlong, don't let your emotions affect your decisions. Master said in a deep voice. Even if it's not dangerous to the 3 of us, what if something happens to the 7 of them? I'll go alone. Lu Erlong glanced at Oscar. Oscar was quick-witted. He didn't know if he should make small sausages for Lu Erlong. Erlong, what little gang said makes sense. Flinder coughed a few times and advised, the sausages won't last long. If you chase after it alone, you'll feel very uncomfortable if you inhale the fog for a long time. If you meet other soul beasts, it will be very dangerous. If we are attacked by other 10,000-year soul beasts, the situation will be even worse. These soul beasts were quite cunning. They didn't move alone, but moved together. Lu Erlong didn't say anything. Right at this moment, suddenly, the pink poisonous fog dissipated at a speed visible to the naked eye. Everyone was shocked. Following that, they saw a figure slowly walking over from afar. He was wearing a white robe and a black mask. His body was well-proportioned. The most important thing was that he was carrying 2 incomparably huge soul beasts in his hands, which were completely incompatible with his body size. Seeing this, everyone was stunned. He walked over from the shadows, and everyone could see the 2 soul beasts in his hands very clearly. One of them was the King of Earth that Lu Erlong was infuriated by, but managed to escape in time. The other soul beast was pink all over and was about the same size as the King of Earth. Its entire body looked like it was carved out of crystal, and there were 6 eyes on its head. It was the Pink Goddess, The pink poisonous fog that dissipated was also emitted by her. However, these two soul beasts weren't dead yet. They only had a single breath left. This mysterious white-robed and black-masked figure walked to 10 meters away from them and suddenly placed the two soul beasts in his hands on the ground. They smashed into the ground with a dull thud. Don't chase after them. I brought these two soul beasts back for you. Little fatty, didn't you want Tang Dang to really attack you? That figure let out a cold sneer. I'll give you a chance now. If the 7 of you can touch the corner of my clothes before you fall, I'll give these two soul beasts to you. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. They didn't expect these two soul beasts to be caught unknowingly. It's that 6-ringed soul emperor. Tang San's words instantly caused the other 6 people to regain their senses. Chapter 297. After regaining their senses, the 6 of them suddenly became nervous. Among them, Ma Hongjun was the most nervous. Could he have been nearby the whole time and heard our conversation? Ma Hongjun stared at the figure in front of him. He remembered clearly what he had said just now. He didn't expect the other party to really appear. They had fought twice, although the other party had set a trap for them each time. The 7 of them couldn't handle it either. But now, the other party had appeared directly with 2 soul beasts that they needed. Flinder, didn't you notice him just now? Zhao Wuji whispered. I didn't notice anything at all. This was a little scary. He was a soul sage over rank 70. And Flinder's 4-eyed cat eagle should have a clearer perception. If he didn't know, Flinder shook his head and looked at Lu Erlong. Don't look at me. I didn't notice it either, Lu Erlong said indifferently. Lu Erlong's words immediately shocked Zhao Wuji and Flinder, because among them, Lu Erlong was the strongest. If even she didn't notice it, it meant that, little gang, is he really Lin Feng? Flinder pushed his glasses. No matter how strong Lin Feng was, it was impossible for them to not notice him, right? To be able to hear Ma Hongjun's conversation just now meant that he was definitely nearby. It should be him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have captured these 2 soul beasts. He might have obtained some kind of aura-concealing soul skill. The master shook his head and said, I don't know what kind of soul skill he has. It's so powerful that even you guys can't detect it. To be able to make a soul sage unable to detect his surroundings, this soul skill was probably not ordinary. So now let's just watch? Zhao Wuji scratched his head. Then let's watch. Lu Erlong walked to the side, still emitting a cold aura. It's a good opportunity to see their strength. Seeing this, Flinder also sat to the side and narrowed his eyes. If you can touch the corner of his clothes before falling to the ground, you'll lose. From his tone, it's definitely Lin Feng. But it's a little big. It was more than big. The 7 of them looked at the mysterious 6-ringed soul emperor in a white robe and black mask, and a faint anger arose in their hearts. Then let's try. Tang San took a deep breath and said, if it's a head-on battle, we have a chance of winning. According to the Grandmaster, the special training of a 6-ringed soul emperor would attack them at any time. However, the previous 2 encounters were all traps. Especially the last time, it could be said to be an extremely cunning trap, which led to the instant annihilation of the entire team. If it was a head-on confrontation, then the 7 of them had a very high chance of winning. Moreover, the other party's request was so low. Even a soul doll wouldn't dare to claim that they wouldn't even be able to touch the corners of their clothes in the face of their combined attacks. Most importantly, there were 2 soul beasts. There was a great need for them. They would definitely win. Are you ready? The mysterious man's voice was cold and emotionless. The opponent is an agility-type soul emperor. It will be very fast, so be careful. The blue-silver grass in Tang San's hand rose up, and countless tendrils wrapped around the other 6 people's waists. Attack! The moment Tang San's voice fell, all 7 of them moved. Fine. Tang San's soul skill was the fastest. He needed to test the strength of this 6-ringed soul emperor for the first time. Dai Mubai's white tiger possession suddenly expanded, and a platinum light flashed as he rushed towards the mysterious man. Xiao Wu borrowed Tang San's hands and jumped into the air. attacking the mysterious man. A purple light flashed, and Zhu Zhuqing, who was the fastest, was the first to arrive in front of the mysterious man. Her martial soul had evolved into a Yue elf, and her speed was not inferior to that of a rank 40 agility-type soul master. Her purplish gold claws drew a cold arc in the dark night sky, attacking the mysterious man. However, the mysterious man didn't dodge. Her claws instantly landed on the mysterious man's mask. Zhu Zhuqing was stunned. She fell for it so easily? However, when she touched the mask, Zhu Zhuqing felt a chill in her heart, and a dangerous aura rose from the bottom of her heart. The mutated Yue elf actually had an extremely special effect. That was, her strength would increase by 50% at night. It could be said that at night, she was the strongest out of the 7. Even if Tang San didn't use hidden weapons and the 8th spider spear, he wouldn't be able to defeat her. Be careful. That's an afterimage. Suddenly, Tang San shouted in a low voice. Unfortunately, the speed of sound seemed to be slower than the opponent's movement speed. When Zhu Zhuqing's claws touched the mask, she knew that the opponent wasn't in the same place at all. It was just an afterimage created by moving too fast. Behind, an afterimage appeared. Bang! A palm strike instantly sent Zhu Zhuqing flying to the 2 soul beasts behind her. Tang San's blue-silver grass wrapped around her waist couldn't even react in time. Too fast, Tang San murmured. This is already beyond our reaction speed. Zhu Zhuqing's speed and reaction speed are already very fast at night. That palm strike just now. Zhu Qing's eyes only turned back slightly, and she was hit. Be careful of his speed. Tang San's 3rd layer of purple demon eyes scanned the surroundings again, trying to see the opponent's figure clearly. But even with the 3rd layer of purple demon eyes, he could barely see the afterimage left behind by the opponent. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this time, Ning Rongrong's 9 treasure star glazed pagoda slowly lit up, and several rays of light fell on the 3 of them. Just now, Zhu Zhuqing was too fast, and Ning Rongrong's incantation didn't finish before she was sent flying. At this time, Ning Rongrong's buff fell on them. The 9 treasure star glazed pagoda's group buff was very terrifying. From rank 30 to rank 40. The buff of each soul skill increased by 10%. After the mutation, the buff of each soul skill reached a terrifying 70%. The further they went, the more exaggerated the buff was. This was the buff of a normal rank 77 treasure glazed pagoda soul master. Several rays of light fell on them. They also fell on Zhu Zhuqing, who was a bit far away. In the next moment, their strength soared several times. Fine. After receiving the buff, Tang San felt that his purple demon eyes became clearer and brighter, and he could barely catch the opponent's figure. Mubai, be careful behind you. Just as he finished speaking. Unfortunately, although Tang San's warning was timely, he was still a beat too late. White Tiger Protective Barrier. Almost at the same instant Tang San's voice rang out. Dai Mubai unleashed his soul skill, and his entire body lit up with a faint barrier of light. Bang! In the next moment, the light barrier broke. The huge force directly sent Dai Mubai flying and smashing towards Tang San in the distance. Seeing this, Tang San quickly used his blue-silver grass to catch Dai Mubai. Xiao Wu, be careful. Just as he caught Dai Mubai, Tang San suddenly shouted, I feel it, brother. He's on my right. In midair, Xiao Wu used her soft body to bend into a U shape, dodging the kick that came whistling through the air. This kick almost brushed past her lower abdomen. But before Xiao Wu could feel lucky, she saw the other party's leg turn in the air and stomp down. Dong! Xiao Wu's lower abdomen was kicked, and she was sent flying again. Fortunately, the other party's strength was reduced by half because of the sharp turn. Plus, the blue-silver grass at her waist helped her block most of the impact. At the last moment, when the other party's leg touched her lower abdomen, Xiao Wu used teleportation and only took a small part of the impact, barely allowing her to land on the ground. In a chapter. Chapter 298. Fatty. Use that move. Tang San broke out in a cold sweat. The other party was too fast. There was no way he could warn them in time. In the face of absolute speed, unless one had an absolute defense, it was impossible to block the other party's attack. But the other party's strength was not weak either. Was this the speed of a rank 60 agility type Soul Emperor? How could he be so fast? Impossible. He hadn't even used his martial soul yet. And his soul ring. This kind of suppression was unreasonable. Blue silver grass. Tang San clenched his fist, and the countless blue silver grass that he had prepared quickly interweaved in the air to form a giant net in front of everyone. The other party was too fast, so he could only create this kind of terrain to reduce the other party's speed. Furthermore, the other party was wearing a white robe, which was very eye-catching in the dark night, greatly reducing the difficulty of their defense. This was also the key point that Tang San's purple demon eyes could detect the other party's figure. If the other party's entire body was pitch black, it would be difficult to merge with the night. The sky was filled with blue-silver grass, and if the other party wanted to attack, they could only cut off the blue-silver grass. As long as everything was cut off, Tang San could instantly detect the other party's position and prepare to defend or attack in advance. But using blue-silver grass like this consumed too much soul power. At this moment, the giant net of blue-silver grass in one direction was quickly broken. Found you. Tang San looked in that direction and saw a white figure cutting off his blue-silver grass net at an extremely fast speed. Phoenix Fireline. A pillar of fire immediately shot in that direction. In the giant net formed by the blue-silver grass, the speed was greatly restricted. If one wanted to move, they had to cut off the blue-silver grass first. Otherwise, they would be entangled. The pillar of fire quickly shot in that direction, and the blue-silver grass quickly burned. White tiger meteor shower. At this moment, Dai Mubai also stood up, and a burst of aura erupted from his body. Countless golden light spots appeared around him, and then suddenly blasted in the direction of the flames. This was his fourth soul skill, a large-scale AoE soul skill. Every light spot could cause 1/10 of his strength to the enemy. At this moment, the other party was finally trapped. Naturally, he had to attack with all his strength. Countless specks of light shot towards the location of the flames like tongues of fire. Amidst the explosion of the light spots, the flames burned fiercely. There seemed to be no blind spots. The soaring flames and explosions had completely awakened the dark night. Quick, eat some grilled sausages. Oscar tossed him a few grilled sausages. All of these moves consumed a great deal of soul power. He should be injured, right? Boss Dai's white tiger meteor shower will produce a violent explosion in the flames, and its power will increase by a level. Xiao Wu gasped for breath as she stared ahead in bewilderment. His reaction was quite fast. When Tang San discovered it, the Phoenix Fireline had instantly ignited the area. In addition to the white tiger meteor shower, there were no blind spots. Zhu Zhuqing also walked over from afar and watched with a grave expression. Tang San was the one who came up with this technique to deal with enemies who were too fast. Against this kind of enemy, single-target attacks were almost useless because they could not hit their target. His pure speed would render any single-target's soul skills useless. Just like just now, Zhu Zhuqing was the first to go up, but she could only touch an afterimage and was sent flying in a single exchange. If not for Xiao Wu's teleportation skill and her quick reaction at the critical moment, she would probably have ended up the same. Even if she used teleportation, she would still be slower than the other party. Obviously, they could only use this special method. First, they used Tang San's blue-silver grass net to detect the other party's general direction and created a large area of flames. Coupled with the enhancement from the white tiger meteor shower, the entire place was ignited. But Tang San felt a little uneasy as he watched. Suddenly, a sinister voice sounded from behind them. "What are you looking at?" Hearing this, almost at the next moment, the 8 spider spears appeared behind Tang San's back. Countless blue-silver grass rushed towards the back crazily. The rest of them instantly scattered and did not even look back. It was extremely terrifying. Void Realm. At this moment, the mysterious man muttered. The next moment, it was as if he had entered a frozen space. His eyes flashed with a sharp light, and the seven people's movements seemed to have slowed down tenfold. First, he grinned, then slowly walked forward and attached the blue-silver grass to Ning Rongrong's body. Then he walked in front of Oscar, took the 2 mushroom sausages in his mouth, and stuck them into his nose. Then he pushed Ma Hongjun down from the air, and it just so happened that he touched one of Tang San's 8 spider spears. Dai Mu Bai, Xiao Wu, and Zhu Zhuqing all at once. He bound the blue-silver grass to their feet. All of this happened in a fraction of a second. In the Void Realm state, his senses were 10 times stronger, which was equivalent to his opponents being 10 times slower. But this required a high level of physical fitness. Otherwise, it was impossible to enter. This was his greatest achievement in the past 6 months in the Great Star Dove Forest. The growth of the Void Realm. After leaving the Void Realm, the surroundings quickly returned to normal. Then a strange scene occurred. Ning Rongrong was bound by the blue-silver grass like a big dumpling. Oscar's face turned red, and he pulled out the mushroom sausages from his nose and gasped for breath. Ma Hongjun let out a blood-curdling scream because his arm was once again pierced by Tang San's 8 spider spear. Xiao Wu, Dai Mu Bai, and Zhu Zhuqing were tripped by the blue-silver grass under their feet. The 7 people were in a mess. Only Tang San was barely standing, and he looked around in confusion. The 4 people who were watching from the sidelines also widened their eyes in shock. This is Lu Erlong, who had been fuming with anger, looked on in horror. Even the anger she had just felt had vanished. From her point of view, she could only see the white figure shuttling back and forth between the 7 of them, as if it had turned into a ray of light. Then this happened. "He's too fast," Flinders said in a low voice. He completed these movements in an instant to make them attack each other. Is this also a special soul skill? I remember that Dugabo has a similar time freeze soul skill that can achieve a similar effect. But that's his 8th soul skill. No, was it time freeze just now? He was too fast. Lu Erlong shook her head. If it was an area of effect soul skill like time freeze, we would have felt it, but we didn't feel it just now. This is more like a special battle state. Lu Erlong, known as the Slaughterhorn, was the one who had experienced the most battles among the 3. She could vaguely understand this special situation, but she wasn't completely sure. If they were like this, Tang San and the others were even more so. When they came to their senses, "Third brother, how did your blue-silver grass trap me?" "Tang San, how did your 8 spider spears hurt me? It hurts so much. Who stuffed my mushroom sausages up my nose?" "Brother, why did you use your blue-silver grass to trap my and Zhuqing's feet?" End of chapter. Chapter 299. Tang San looked at the people lying on the ground and was stunned. When he came back to his senses, the corners of his mouth twitched. What happened just now? As if thinking of something, Tang San sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at the white figure standing elegantly on the blue-silver grass in the distance. "Not bad. Your cooperation is very good, but it's still very weak. Although you didn't touch my clothes, I'll give you 2 soul beasts. It won't be so simple next time." Haha. The white figure suddenly disappeared in the air, coming and going without a trace. After a long while, they barely got up, and Tang San quickly sucked the poison out of the 8 spider spear for Ma Hongjun. The group looked at each other. "What happened just now?" Ma Hongjun muttered, "How did I fall on your 8 spider spear in the blink of an eye?" Tang San, "Yeah, you even tied me up with your blue-silver grass?" Ning Rongrong was also very angry. Xiao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing, and Dai Mu Bai also walked over, and their expressions were not good. Tang San said in a deep voice, "Just now, that 6-ringed soul emperor changed our posture. He suddenly appeared behind us, and I'm afraid he used some kind of special soul skill that can make him as fast as lightning. In an instant, he changed our posture and caused this effect." Hearing this, everyone was stunned. When there's a huge difference in speed and perception between us. To him, we're still. Zhu Zhuqing seemed to understand and whispered, "When I attacked him just now, I had this feeling. Yes, that's what it means. Tang. Sin shook his head and said, the difference in strength is too obvious. How can a rank 60 agility type Soul Emperor be so exaggerated? Unless it's some kind of special, mutated martial soul. When Fatty's Phoenix Fireline landed on my blue-silver grass net, he probably disappeared and appeared behind us in the dark. Hearing this, everyone felt a chill in their hearts. At this time, Flinder and the others also came over. Teacher, your friend? What martial soul is it? Tang Sin couldn't help but ask. I've never seen such a six-ringed soul emperor. I've never seen him use his martial soul, not even his soul rings. Grandmaster remained silent and did not reply. All right, you guys. Oscar, Fatty, hurry up and kill those two soul beasts so that you can absorb their soul rings. Before it gets dark, Flinder said indifferently, why are you asking so much? We don't know either. Why are you asking us what we have? Zhao Wuji thought to himself. Lin Feng, that brat, seemed to have become even stronger. The seven of them remained silent and didn't say anything. This battle could be said to have ended very quickly. Furthermore, it ended with a crushing defeat. The seven of them believed that even Dean Flinder or Lu Erlong would not be able to do this. Of course, this was partly because he knew nothing about the other party. But more importantly, there was a huge gap between their strengths. Seeing that they were three teachers, Oscar and Ma Hongjun could only absorb the soul rings. These two soul beasts were the most suitable for the two of them. This six-ringed soul emperor is really strong. Ning Rongrong patted her shoulder. With the help of the blue-silver grass, Ning Rongrong's body still felt a little weak. Zhu Zhuqing and Xiao Wu also walked into the tent and planned to rest. Although this battle was short, it was too tiring. I didn't expect Grandmaster to have such a powerful friend. Xiao Wu rubbed her feet. Just now, she was tripped by the blue-silver grass. The three of them had maintained an extremely fast momentum. Suddenly, they were tied up by the blue-silver grass and their feet turned red. Zhu Zhuqing also rubbed her feet. Under the huge pulling force, even a soul master's body would feel pain. But those two soul beasts seemed to be a little different. Zhu Zhuqing rubbed her feet while recalling the special wounds she found in front of the two soul beasts. She fell into deep thought. If only Wang Feng was here, Ning Rongrong said with anticipation. If he was here, we wouldn't have lost so miserably, right? When we return to the academy, we can see Wang Feng. This was what she was looking forward to the most, even more than obtaining a soul ring. If it's Brother Feng, I don't think it's possible. I feel that this six-ring soul emperor is very strange. Xiao Wu shook her head and said, his various designs obviously know us very well. I guess Grandmaster told him all our information, but none of us have met him yet. At this time, Zhu Zhuqing opened her mouth and said, after half a year of cultivation, he should be stronger. Xiao Wu was stunned and nodded. That seems to be the case. Let's rest first. Right now, we only need Zhuqing, Rongrong, and Brother Soul Rings. The three of them talked in the tent. In the campfire outside, Zhao Wuji and the others were also talking. The night gradually passed. The seven of us have become a lot stronger. In the night sky, a white figure took off his mask and looked at the full moon in the sky. You can even make me use the evolved void realm. A hint of a smile appeared on Wang Feng's face. After half a year of cultivation in the Great Stardow Forest, his soul power had just barely reached rank 45. As such, Wang Feng focused most of his energy on battling the Titan Giant Ape. It had to be said that Air Ming's combat prowess was extremely fearsome, and he also possessed a gravity domain. Wang Feng was no match for Air Ming at all. In Wang Feng's estimation, if they were to fight for real, he might not be able to defeat Air Ming even at rank 70. In particular, with the staff that he had given to Air Ming, Wang Feng felt that he would have a hard time even if he were to reach rank 70. However, during this half a year of torture, Wang Feng's greatest improvement was in his battle with the Void Realm. After all, battling under Air Ming's gravity domain every day was extremely beneficial to his progress in attaining the spatial realm. Originally, the Void Realm greatly enhanced one's senses, allowing them to react in all types of minute ways and evade the enemy's attacks. Under Air Ming's training, Wang Feng became more and more proficient in using the Void Realm. After attaining the Void Realm, Wang Feng was even immune to Air Ming's gravity domain for a short period of time. The Void Realm involved Wang Feng's understanding of every single muscle and bone in his body, as well as his spiritual power. After attaining the Void Realm, Wang Feng's spiritual power was increased by more than 10 times, and his brain was in a state of extreme stress. It was similar to a CPU that was overclocking itself, and in this state, he could control every single muscle in his body to the finest degree, thereby significantly increasing his speed. This was a result of the improvements he had received from Air Ming's beatings. After all, Wang Feng had been beaten by a 100,000-year-old soul beast that was comparable to a titled Douluo for half a year, so there was no way that he hadn't improved at all. The current Void Realm had already become one of Wang Feng's greatest trump cards. However, entering this state would have an extremely severe impact on one's body. This was similar to how overclocking a CPU would damage the CPU itself and the motherboard. If one's motherboard wasn't up to par, then there was no way that it could support such an overclocking state. Using it for extended periods of time would naturally become even more difficult. On top of that, it would be very difficult for one to enter this state without the spiritual power enhancement provided by the Black Band Spiritual Skull. In a chapter, Chapter 300. With Wang Feng's current physical fitness, he had to activate the second gear, hide the mysterious underworld armor, and use the Black Hoop Spiritual Skull to enter the Void Realm for a short minute. He couldn't enter the first gear yet, but in this minute, Wang Feng was almost invincible. Unless it was a super strong agility-type soul Douluo, it was impossible to detect his speed and perception. Although Tang San's team of 7 was very strong, their decision-making was good, and their use of soul skills was also very good. But in this crushing state, there was no possibility of victory. It was also impossible for them to touch the corner of Wang Feng's clothes. If it was in Wang Feng's first gear, he could still touch them. But after entering the second gear and activating the new form of the Void Realm, it would be difficult for the 7 of them to touch him even if they all obtained their 4th soul ring. Consider it the first time I've used this evolved Void Realm in actual combat with you guys. Wang Feng said with a smile. Tomorrow I'll let you guys see the effect of the God-slaying spear and feel a crazy soul beast. The next day, Oscar and Ma Hongjun had completely absorbed the soul rings of the 2 soul beasts. Their 4th soul skills were very strong. Ma Hongjun absorbed the soul ring of the King of the Earth and obtained the Phoenix Sky Whistle Strike, which had 2 stages. Within a range of 5 meters, the first stage could make the opponent dizzy, and the second stage could produce magma to attack the opponent and cause a lot of damage, but it required the cooperation of Tang San. Because this was a move that required accumulation of power, if they left the range in the first stage, the result would be a miss. And Oscar's pink intestine could increase the overall state by 10%. They were all very strong soul skills. Although the soul skills were very good, the 7 of them weren't too excited after the crushing defeat last night. Instead, they were very quiet and calm. Looking at this situation, the master smiled in his heart. This was the effect he wanted to see. The 7 children in front of him were very talented. They also had a tacit understanding, but they needed someone to supervise and spur them. They couldn't be complacent and arrogant. This person had to be young and make them feel frustrated. Naturally, it could only be Wang Feng. They're already in the state of being the teacher of kings. Master thought, this year's Continental Advanced Soul Master Tournament is not simple. If they want to go further, they need this kind of tempering. The group shuttled through the forest. The setting sun forest wasn't very big, but it would still take a few days to walk out of it. However, the quality of the soul beasts here couldn't compare to the Great Stardow Forest. After half a day, the group still had not found anything. Fortunately, the 6-ringed Soul Emperor that Tang San and the others were worried about didn't attack them again. It seemed that the battle last night had given them a chance to catch their breath. There was no harvest for the entire day. The remaining three wanted to find the most suitable soul beast, and with the presence of a grandmaster, the requirements were naturally stricter. Night was approaching. On this day, the six-ring soul emperor didn't attack them. Although Tang San and the others were still vigilant, they still heaved a sigh of relief. "Teacher, we can't go on like this." Tang San looked at the grandmaster. Flender said, "I have a way to quickly attract the soul beasts, but it's more dangerous." The four of them then looked at Tang San. If they continued to search like this, it would be too exhausting. If there was a better way, it would naturally be the best. "What is it?" the grandmaster asked. Tang San took out the delicate silk immortal from his 100 treasures pouch and smiled as he said, "This is an immortal item. If I nourish it with herbs, it will emit a special fragrance. As this herb is a treasure, the fragrance it emits will attract soul beasts." The four of their eyes brightened. "This method is not bad, but it's a little dangerous. What if we attract too many soul beasts?" Flender thought for a moment and said, "Unless there's a place that can block these soul beasts. Is the place where you and Douluo Bo cultivated still there?" The grandmaster asked. "It's there. There's a poison array there. Even 10,000-year-old beasts don't dare to enter. Let's go there for now." Tang San pondered for a moment. He thought that even the six-ringed soul emperor wouldn't dare to enter that place. In this way, they could temporarily avoid conflict with him. When everyone obtained their fourth soul skills, they should be able to pose a threat to him. Only then would they have a chance to pass the test. After they finished discussing, they quickly rushed to the ice fire in Yongwell. Tang San hadn't been here for half a year. When he came again, he discovered that this place was still very beautiful. After everything was done, the delicate silk immortal's fragrance slowly dissipated. Everyone waited quietly. Not long after, a low roar came from the front, bringing with it a strong gust of wind. When they saw this, Flender and Lu Erlong became alert. "It's a tiger-type soul beast," the grandmaster said. "Tang San, you'll have to kill it yourselves this time. Be careful." Just as the grandmaster finished speaking, Tang San and the others saw a brightly colored tiger bursting out from the forest. It was a pitch-black tiger. Other than the white pattern on its forehead, it was more than 4.5 meters long, and its shoulder height was close to 2 meters. What was even stranger was that its eyes were blood red. "Be careful, it's a 5,000-year ghost tiger," Tang San said. "Ghost tigers are soul beasts that are extremely fast and aggressive. They're very ferocious." As he spoke, Tang San and the others started fighting with this ghost tiger. Ghost tigers had a special ability, Shadow Clone. Normally, there would be 3 of them. However, this one was older. It could transform into 4 different shadows to attack, and it was difficult to distinguish between them. Dai Mubai's White Tiger's Fierce Light Wave and Tang San's Binding Spiderweb each destroyed 1 shadow. Ma Hongjuan's Phoenix Fireline also destroyed 1 shadow. However, this ghost tiger seemed to be very violent. Instantly, it split into 4 shadows and charged towards the herb. Everyone was caught off guard. Fortunately, Tang San had the purple demon eyes. He saw that it was the second shadow from the left. After identifying it, Tang San used Binding Spiderweb to slightly control the ghost tiger's momentum. At night, Zhu Zhuqing's speed was the most terrifying. Even if the ghost tiger charged over, it couldn't hurt her. In addition, Tang San's Binding Spiderweb slowed down the ghost tiger's momentum. After Zhu Zhuqing dodged, she immediately used her 3rd soul skill, Netherworld Slash, and attacked the ghost tiger. The purplish-gold claw merged into one and seemed to become a purplish-gold sharp blade. It cut into the ghost tiger's abdomen and pulled out a wound so deep that bones could be seen. However, the ghost tiger, which had broken free from the web, did not seem to notice such a powerful attack. It roared angrily and charged in the direction of Ning Rongrong and Oscar without any hesitation. Everyone was shocked when they saw this. Zhu Zhuqing's attack was so powerful, and the ghost tiger was also seriously injured. Why didn't it seem to notice anything? This ghost tiger is a little strange. There seems to be a wound on its back. It has gone crazy. Tang San observed with his purple demon eyes and immediately said, Rong Rong, Xiao Ao, eat the mushroom intestines and avoid this ghost tiger. End of chapter. Chapter 301. Originally, under Zhu Zhuqing's soul skill, the ghost tiger's momentum should be greatly reduced. Then, Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjuan's second attack will be formed. Together with Xiao Wu's final attack, they should be able to make the ghost tiger lose its ability to fight. However, this scene was completely out of their expectations. Ning Rongrong and Oscar were also shocked and immediately flew into the air. They didn't understand why the ghost tiger was so berserk. What's going on? Zhao Wuji and the others were also shocked. What he saw was very clear. The ghost tiger should have been injured before it came. Lu Erlong pointed at the wound on the ghost tiger's back. That wound caused the ghost tiger to lose its nature and enter an extremely berserk state. Although Zhu Qing's attack caused great damage to it, the ghost tiger didn't care at all in this state. They will be in a tough battle. I wonder how they will deal with such a special situation. Lu Erlong saw it clearly. Flender also saw it very clearly. Grandmaster's strength was low, so he couldn't see it clearly. However, after listening to the two, he said, it seems that he might have done it. The three of them were stunned. You mean it's Lin Feng? Flender suddenly understood. But how did he make the ghost tiger go berserk? I knew it. He didn't attack for the whole day. It doesn't suit his character. Let's watch first. If they are in danger, we will make a move. Tang San and the others were shocked by the ghost tiger's state. However, after countless battles, they quickly realized what was going on. Continue to exhaust it and restrain it. Even if it is in a berserk state, there will be a time when it can't take it anymore. Tang San ordered calmly, Zhu Qing, this ghost tiger is very suitable for you. However, it will be difficult to make it lose its ability to fight in this state. You must find the right opportunity later. We will create the conditions for you to kill it in one strike. The seven of them originally wanted to make the ghost tiger lose its ability to fight, but now they could only change their strategy. No need. I have an idea. At this moment, Zhu Zhuqing walked out and said in a deep voice, Rong Rong, give me full strength. I will kill it myself. Everyone was stunned when they heard this. Ning Rongrong nodded, and several rays of light landed on Zhu Zhuqing's body. Zhu Zhuqing took a deep breath and focused on the ghost tiger in the distance. Zhu's purple gold claws flickered with a cold light. She directly rushed over. She was extremely fast. However, this 5,000-year ghost tiger wasn't to be trifled with. It also charged towards Zhu Zhuqing. In the next moment, the moment the two figures came into contact, Zhu Zhuqing leaped onto the ghost tiger's back. Netherworld's 100 claws. The purplish gold cold light flashed across the ghost tiger's back dozens of times in a row. This was only her second with Zhu's soul. But this time, the ghost tiger let out a painful roar. Immediately after that, with it Zhu's. Everyone was stunned. Even with that, to the Toto twos to get down to the of it, it's of course of the Zhu of course. Zhu Qing, how did you do it? Xiao Wu said in surprise. This ghost tiger's vitality should be very strong, and it's in a berserk state. It doesn't feel any pain at all. It shouldn't be hit by a soul skill, right? Everyone gathered around. Only Tang Sen looked at the spot where Zhu Zhuqing had used her soul skill and said in realization, I see. Zhu Qing, you use your Netherworld's 100 claws to attack its wound, right? Tang Sen pointed the wound on the ghost tiger's back. This wound was a very small scratch. It seemed that the ghost tiger had become so berserk because of this scratch. Even now, when they got closer, they could feel that this wound contained an extremely terrifying blood aura. Yes, Zhu Zhuqing nodded. When I attacked it at close range, I also saw this wound. It probably went berserk because of this wound. If I use my Netherworld's 100 claws to attack it and stare at this wound, it could expand its wound. The pain caused by this wound is obviously more effective than any of our attacks. I think that as long as we expand this wound, the ghost tiger should die instantly. After hearing this, everyone was silent. They didn't expect Zhu Zhuqing to be able to think so much during the close combat. I wonder who caused this wound. Oscar frowned and said, I have a feeling that it's not that simple. Tang Sen shook his head. He wasn't sure who caused this wound. There were too many possibilities. However, this ghost tiger is extremely berserk when it's alive. Zhuqing, it won't be difficult for you to absorb it after killing it in this state. Tang San smiled and said, This is the best result. Because this ghost tiger was injured by this wound, it was in extreme pain. However, because it went berserk, it didn't feel the injury. Instead, it wanted to die. This wound emitted an extremely ferocious aura, causing the ghost tiger's soul to be afraid. Being able to kill it is also a form of relief for it. When everyone heard this, they were slightly enlightened. Zhu Zhuqing opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but she didn't say anything. Actually, she wanted to say that this wound was on the wounds of the two soul beasts that died yesterday. However, because those two soul beasts were killed by Oscar and Ma Hongjun and absorbed their soul rings, they didn't notice it. And because she was sent flying by the mysterious six-ringed soul emperor at the beginning, she happened to land near those two soul beasts and coincidentally saw this kind of small wound. Obviously, the wounds on those two soul beasts were deliberately left by the other party. If they had noticed it in advance, they would have been mentally prepared to deal with this ghost tiger. In other words, this ghost tiger's wound was also caused by that six-ringed soul emperor. That six-ringed soul emperor has been helping us and secretly warning us. Zhu Zhuqing thought to herself. Thinking of this, Zhu Zhuqing was about to say something. At this moment, suddenly, there was an earthquake-like sound in the distance. You guys go back inside first. I'm afraid there are many soul beasts. Flinder and Lu Erlong walked over. There are at least 30 soul beasts. Grandmaster heard the sound and said in a deep voice, and I'm afraid there are soul beasts above 10,000 years among them. With Flinder and Lu Erlong's observation, they had already noticed it just now. So exaggerated? Dai Mubai took a deep breath and said, This immortal medicine is quite powerful. There's something else that's not good. Flinder looked at the few of them and said, These soul beasts all have wounds on their bodies. I observed them just now. Every one of them has the same wound as the ghost tiger just now. One of them is a 30,000-year soul beast, and it has the same special wound. This means that they are all in a state of madness. When everyone heard this, they instantly fell silent. Although there were many benefits to killing these soul beasts with special wounds, and it was very easy to absorb them. But it was so easy to kill them, especially those soul beasts above 10,000 years. When they went berserk, there was no chance at all. They all have wounds. Ma Hongjun wiped the cold sweat on his forehead. Who caused this? So terrifying? Even 30,000-year soul beasts can be injured. At this moment, Zhu Zhuqing whispered, It's him. It's that six-ringed soul emperor. When Tang San and the others heard this, they immediately looked at her in astonishment. Asterisk cough cough, asterisk, please count the votes. Asterisk, end of this chapter. Chapter 302. Zhu Zhuqing's words stunned Tang San and the others. These 30-odd soul beasts came from all directions because of the delicate silk immortal. However, wasn't it very difficult to injure every single soul beast and escape unscathed? Furthermore, there were 30,000-year soul beasts among them. If that was the case, who was this six-ringed soul emperor? Zhuqing's words make sense. Tang San thought for a moment and said, That six-ringed soul emperor is too fast. Even 30,000-year soul beasts might not be able to match his speed. As long as we can't restrict his speed, we can injure these soul beasts. After hearing Tang San's words, the others felt that it made sense. Zhuqing, how did you think of this? Xiao Wu asked. Zhu Zhuqing recounted how she had seen the wounds on the King of Earth and the Pink Goddess during the battle. After she finished, Tang San and the others were silent. Very good. As an agility-type soul master, Zhuqing, your investigative skills have improved greatly. The Grandmaster looked at Zhu Qing with admiration. You were able to discover the clues left behind by your opponent, analyze them, and make a decision. Is this why you were so confident in using your second soul skill to kill that ghost tiger? If Zhu Qing hadn't discovered that wound last night, she wouldn't have thought so much. As an agility-type soul master, she was responsible for investigating and analyzing the situation on the battlefield, and then relaying information to the commander. The more information she could gather, the more beneficial it would be for the team. Let's not talk about that six-ringed Soul Emperor for now. Flinder swept his gaze across everyone. There are so many soul beasts outside. Let's think about what to do first. With so many soul beasts gathered, it'll be very dangerous even if we go out directly. Furthermore, they're unusually violent right now. Their attacks will be even more terrifying. There are more than 30 soul beasts, ranging from thousands to tens of thousands of years old. This wasn't something that a small team could defeat. These violent soul beasts are very suitable for us to absorb once they're killed. Tang San smiled and said, "This six-ringed Soul Emperor didn't personally attack us this time, but it's obvious that he's testing us. As long as we pass, we will naturally gain a lot of benefits. The only thing we need to do now is to find the soul beasts we need from these 30 or so soul beasts." Tang San's detailed explanation made the others immediately understand the current situation. At this time, Tang San took down the flying divine claw in his hand and said with a smile, "This may depend on the teachers. I think you all know that this thing is called the flying divine claw. It can grasp all kinds of terrain dozens of meters away to dodge or climb." As he spoke, Tang San suddenly pointed his flying divine claw at a huge rock in the distance. But at the same time, it can also be used to grab things. It just requires a powerful soul power to support it. A sharp, cone-shaped hidden weapon suddenly shot out from the front of the divine claw, and the tough steel wire connected the two parts. The sharp cone pierced into the rock in the distance and instantly formed a huge steel claw, firmly locking the rock in place. Following that, Tang San circulated his soul force and clawed the rock back to him. Seeing this, Flinder and the other teachers' eyes lit up. If we use this thing to catch soul beasts, one may not be enough, but 3 or even 4 of them are enough to catch the soul beasts outside one by one. Tang San handed the flying divine claw to Flinder and said to Dai Mubai and the others, "Mubai, Xiao Ao, take down the flying divine claw for the time being and let the teachers use it." He gave everyone a set of all kinds of hidden weapons. Dai Mubai and Oscar immediately took down the flying divine claw and gave it to Flinder and Lu Erlong. Tang San gave it to Zhao Wuji. This mechanism wasn't complicated, and the 3 teachers were all old soul masters, so they naturally learned it very quickly. Then let's choose a soul beast for Rong Rong first. Tang San looked at Ning Rong Rong. Previously, Wang Feng said that it's best to choose a defensive soul skill for my 4th soul skill. It's best if it can protect me. Ning Rong Rong giggled. Also, I feel that my body has become much stronger. I should be able to absorb soul beasts of a higher age. Even Oscar can't beat me. Oscar was speechless. His golden sausage's enhancement and deliciousness had both increased, but couldn't increase his own enhancement. It wasn't like Ning Rong Rong's 9 treasures star-glazed pagoda, which had the power of the stars that could increase the user's physical fitness. Xiao Feng is right. Your enhancement includes attack, agility, and soul power. Next, your defense is naturally the best. Grandmaster nodded. After a moment of thought, he said, "There is a scaled beast outside. Its defense is the strongest among all the soul beasts here. Even those 10,000-year soul beasts might not be able to compare to this scaled beast's defense. Also, it seems that there are some changes." Changes? Tang San was surprised. That's right. The master pointed outside. Ordinary scale beasts have black scales, and they look like crocodiles. But this one is obviously a little special. Not only is its age just right, but the scales on its back are also light purple. It should be a mutated scale. According to my guess, this kind of purple scale armor has outstanding defense, and I'm afraid that it might have some special abilities. This kind of scaled beast is very rare. Everyone looked at the scaled beast. The scales on its back were indeed light purple with a layer of black halo. We'll know after we catch it and absorb it. A trace of fire flashed in Lu Erlong's eyes. Without saying a word, she jumped high and shot out her flying divine claws. Flinder and Zhao Wuji hurriedly followed. This Lu Erlong's temper was too violent. Even though the purple-scaled beast was slightly larger, it still wasn't enough to deal with the three powerful soul masters. It was as if it was being lifted by a crane. The scaled beast's huge body was pulled in, and it fell to the ground with a thud. After absorbing the poisonous fog from the poison array and being restrained by Flinder's flying divine claws, the scaled beast was like a tortoise that had fallen to the ground. Its abdomen was facing the sky, but even its abdomen was covered with layers of scales. The master quickly explained the weaknesses of this scale beast. After that, he asked Lu Erlong to bring Ning Rongrong to absorb and kill this soul beast. Little 3. Choose this man-faced demon spider for your 4th soul ring. The master pointed at the man-faced demon spider in the distance. I'm sure you know the characteristics of the man-faced demon spider. This 6,000-year soul beast is the most suitable. Tang Sen was silent for a moment. My 6-ring soul emperor friend is giving you guys a test, but from the injuries these soul beasts have suffered, it's obvious that he deliberately ordered them to come here. The master said, that was indeed the case. Whether it was the ghost tiger that had reached its limit or the purple-scaled beast, they were not easy to find. Even if they had the delicate silk immortal, they might not have been able to attract soul beasts that were so perfect for them. Tang Sen nodded. He naturally understood this point. That's why this 6,000-year man-faced demon spider was given to you after being selected by him. After last night's battle, he had a clear understanding of your abilities and martial souls. The master continued, although there are many soul beasts here, there are soul beasts that you need mixed in with them. 6,000-year soul beasts were the oldest soul beasts in the group. They had already surpassed the limit of a rank 40 soul master. At this moment, Tang Sen suddenly looked to the side and laughed. But teacher, there's a 10,000-year underground demon spider over there. I think it's more suitable. I think that's what the 6-ring soul emperor wants, right? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.